your weapons ready, kiss the ones goodbye. Now our time is coming, and it is not the time to cry. Fight the war. Fight the war. Fight the war. Oh, who cares why we're fighting? It's about the fight. Let the writers writing settle wrong from right. In the time of conflict, when the bullets fly, in the space of seconds, a life you cannot buy. Face the facts before you, face the simple truth. We're hopelessly outnumbered, it's tragic but it's true. Make your last formation, take the final road. Now it's time for endings, now it's time to go. Fight the war. Oh, fight the war. Fight the war.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm fighting the war because it's a Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts, to a Tuesday stream. It is August 8th, 2017, in the year of our Lord, Anno Domini, etc., etc., and it is good to see everyone today. I hope everyone is looking forward to an awesome stream today as we begin Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 27, Star Strider. It's going to be good times. What's up, Tobik? Always love the emotes and the various use of emoticons. Good to see everyone, and I'm looking forward to today. Before we get more into today, a couple of reminders about ways to support the stream. If you haven't done so already, please tweet out the stream with !CTT. Please make sure to check out the YouTube channel for past broadcasts of this stream with !ArvTube. !Steam group will get you over to the Steam group where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Same thing with Discord, which is always hopping, always good things happening over at the Discord, so check that out. And last but certainly not least, we've got the ways to support the channel on a more monetary point of view, and that's !Arvtreon. That's the Patreon, which is currently sitting at 40204. A lot of things that we can get out of that. You do your best to spam chat with useless information. It's never useless, Tobik, never useless. So the Patreon allows us to do a lot of cool things, like what we are doing today, for example, because I'm able to pay the people that do stuff on the channel, which is really awesome. So again, that is currently sitting at 40204. Please support that if you can. again, it really does make a difference to the channel, and you can get some cool things for yourself as well. Epic poems written about you, character backgrounds written about you, copies of my band's albums. You get to inspire players in Dungeons & Dragons. You get writing critiques at the higher level. So a lot of different things that you can do. That's ! Arvtreon. And last but certainly not least is that purple sub button, which we are sitting right now at about 20 subs. So if you guys are able to hit that sub button underneath the window, you will also get access to these awesome emotes, those gold emotes that you see. And we've just recently had those added. So we've got of course this one. This is the $4.99 one, and this is global, of course, so you can use this everywhere. The gold Get Hyped. Then we've got Arvin E. Quill. This is the gold quill. This is done by Kilobyte. Also global. That's $9.99, that one. And then last but certainly not least, we've got the gold So Good. All of these by Kilobyte. That's at the $24.99 level. So if you are interested in having those and being able to show off your Arvin swag here and there across the powers of Twitch, you can do that by hitting that sub button underneath the window, and that definitely helps the channel as well. So we had a slight change in schedule for today. We were supposed to be doing Tolkien and the Adventures of Middle-earth campaign today, but we had a schedule conflict that popped up. So that has been rescheduled to next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is when we were going to do this stream, but I am pushing it back to this one because it just works out pretty well. And so we are going to be doing today Star Strider, and I'm looking forward to that. I'll talk more about that in a second. After the stream today, I'll be over at GOG continuing my playthrough of Torment on my show Pen and Pixels. And then later this week, you can probably expect to see some more stuff from me. I have next week, not this week, but next week, I'm going to be at Gen Con, which I'm really excited about. And I have a D&D, live D&D thing, which sold out in about 4 hours, which is I'm going to be doing DMing an adventure for a set of authors in front of a live audience, and we're going to try to stream it if at all possible. And the name of the adventure is Night at the Forbidden Library, and I'm actually going to be using the help of chat to actually come up with some character ideas and to do a little bit of the writing, and as I'm doing the maps and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing that over the next week or so, as I also start work on the third and final book of the Grey Assassin trilogy, which started with Grey Shade and continues with Renegade, book 2. Third book in that series, which I have a title for, but I can't reveal to all of you yet. I'm going to be doing that a little bit over the next few weeks also. So keep your eyes out for that. And remember, on Friday, we have D&D with Viewers that is coming up. D&D with Viewers this Friday. And then this Saturday is going to be Dungeons & Dragons with the Infinity and Beyond crew. So it should be some good stuff with stream things going on here. However, today we have got Star Strider, book 27 in this series. And I am very happy to be able to bring on to this someone who has made this really even more fun than it was before. And that, of course, is our good friend. Hold on, let me make sure I unmute her so that we can actually hear her. There we go. Our good friend TariToons, who is going to be live illustrating Star Strider for us. So hi, Tari, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
I am doing well. How's life in the universe and everything on your end?
Rainy.
Rainy. Yeah, you said it was
Very
pouring
rainy.
there, right?
Yeah, like right now it stopped, but like earlier when I was outside, everything was just pouring down, like with Noah and the Ark.
That, wow, okay.
Yeah, the streets turned into rivers.
We got a little bit of that yesterday. We actually recently got a tent. We bought a new tent. And so, you know, what you do when you get a tent and you happen to have a, albeit not very large backyard, is you set it up in the backyard because you test it out. So my daughter's very excited. So we actually set up the tent in the backyard. And this is Sunday night and slept, and that was fine. And then yesterday it was pretty much pouring. So we got a chance to test how waterproof the tent was. And it was. The good news is it was indeed waterproof. Nothing has gotten water inside it. But yeah, it was raining a lot over here. I don't know about Noah and the Ark, but it was definitely, we got a rain going on. But you have been preserved, and so now we're going to be doing, and as I was talking with Terry about this before we came on air, that you're going to get a chance to test your space chops on this one. So we get the space things. So
very unusual for me, but I'll try.
You're going to channel your inner Farscape and inner Star Trek. Did you guys have, I don't know if they had over there, did you ever see Farscape? Was it available in Germany or not?
That doesn't even ring a bell.
Oh, Farscape is so good. It was a space series that was on Sci-Fi, but it was Jim Henson. There were like puppets in it. There was a live world ship, and there was like this guy who was like this dictator on his planet, but he's like this little puppet thing. It was cool. Farscape was cool, especially the first few years, and then it kind of sort of faded a little bit, but I liked Farscape. Did anyone in chat remember Farscape? I was definitely a big fan of that back in the day. Hi, Tren. But anyway, so yeah, so Farscape. So you'll be channeling your inner Star Trek, I guess is a better way to put it. We'll be able to do that.
Do I have to leave if I tell you that I never really watched Star Trek?
How about Doctor Who?
Oh yes, of course.
All right, as long as you got Doctor Who, it's fine.
Yes.
Henson made it. You say, Tren? Okay, wait. Clearly this is not set up right. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by my chat window. It's not frozen. I'm glad to say it's not frozen. So that's money ahead for my normal chat windows. But I just want to make sure. There we go. Now I got it working. So Henson actually made that. I knew that Henson worked on it, but I didn't know that he had made the whole thing. But yeah, Farscape was cool. I definitely dug it. I didn't know that. Oh, that's awesome, Trent. See, you learn something every day. Well, in any case, so we have got Star Strider for today, and Terry will be live illustrating this for us. And I guess what we'll do, Terry, is when you start actually doing the illustration and you share
I'm
your.
already at it.
Oh, you are? I don't have your share screen up though. I don't see. I do not see share screen in Zoom for you.
Oh, let me try again.
Because I'm going to. Scorpio character. Yeah, Scorpio. Oh, man, Scorpio was such a good character. They did so much good stuff with Scorpio.
Do you see the window?
I do not see the window. Gallery view. There's that.
Wait.
Yeah, I do not see the window as yet. What's up, Miranda?
You keep on going. I'll try to
Okay.
figure this out.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so let me explain. This is a little bit different, played by Wayne Pegram. Great character. Yeah, he really is. He really is. In fact, he became such a great character that he almost threatened. He was a little bit like Q, I always thought, Trendane, in that he almost overwhelmed the rest of the show. Because when he wasn't around, you're like, oh, Scorpio's not on. You know, like he was sort of, I don't know, it's sort of hard to describe, but he was more interesting to me almost than others were. So. Yes. So, hey, what's up, Kilobyte? How you doing, man? So let me explain a little bit about this while we get the artwork sort of underway. So here's the thing about Star Strider. This book is a little bit different in the sense that there are a couple of additional features that need to be kept in mind. The features that we have here, I'm going to actually read out to you guys what the sort of beginnings of this are, and then we will actually come up with the name of the character and all that kind of good stuff. But this is a space-oriented thing, and we play what's called a rogue tracer, kind of like a cross between a bounty hunter and an undercover special forces type, agent. As you can probably see from that awesome, Terry and I were talking about what an awesome 80s cover this is. It's very much like that. So it'll be a little bit different. You'll sort of see things this way. Oh yeah, for sure, Miranda. I don't think that Q was, I don't think they did that on purpose. I just think every time Q was around, you were like, this is a show about Q. And I always felt the same way about Scorpio. Scorpius, right? Yeah, Scorpius. What's up, Dunsel? How are you, man? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, get us some music, and then I'm going to read the introduction, and then we will have chat pick up names and do all that kind of good stuff. So...
does the screen sharing work for you right now?
No. I see... all I'm seeing on there right now is just the name, just your name, just butter cheese is just the window, and then I see my window below it, and obviously I'm not sharing my video for Skype reasons.
I'm doing everything I do the other times too. Did that change anything?
No, it doesn't look like, no.
Weird. I mean, I guess we could try Skype.
Yeah, we could if we had to. I don't want to. Don't make me. I'm trying to think if there's any.
Or just try recalling me.
Yeah, let me do that. Let's try. Let me end the meeting and let me try re-hosting a new one. I shall be right back. I'll do a new one. All right. Sorry, everybody. We want to make sure that we get that. Farscape is a ton of viewing fun. This is much more interactive. Yes. Yes. All right. Sorry, everybody, but we need to make sure that we got this working properly. And it's going to be difficult to do. It's going to be difficult to make this an artwork situation if we don't have this functioning. All right, that's a good sound. Then we have the ringing. All right.
How's this?
Ah, it says butter cheese. There you are. Has started screen sharing. There we go. Dun dun dun. Success.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Lovely. All right, you're viewing butter cheese's screen. Good. Wow, look at that. Oh man. And see, I'm glad. This is why I need to do this artwork, because if I don't do this, I'm you know, we're going to miss this. Oh wow. That's pretty sweet. Okay, we're going to I'm going to studio mode this, guys, so that I can actually make sure that I can do the reveal in the right way the first time. That's really cool. So I'm just going to basically capture the right side, yes? Like the
yeah, just the window here.
Okay.
The other thing is just for my reference pictures.
Okay. Do you want me to get the gray border on the top and the bottom as well, or if I do the white, are you going to stay within that white portion? If you follow what I'm asking.
Only in the white portion.
Okay.
And the window won't move. It's a separate window from the one I'm drawing on.
Lovely. Okay.
I can do that. It's very handy. I'm only drawing on the left screen, actually. I have two screens, which is so handy.
Oh my god, yeah. It's one of those things when I never had this until maybe about, I started doing it for Twitch probably, I don't know exactly when it was, a couple of years ago, and man, multiple monitors. If I go to places now where I don't have it, I'm constantly like looking to my right, and then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I don't. Or if I'm on the road and I've only got the one monitor, I'm like, oh man, so much more viewing real estate is helpful to be able to have that. Okay, so now guys, get ready for this. So you guys see the cover that's Star Strider. Check this out. Yes. It looks like, when it looks kind of like, almost like Silver Surfer. Like we got some kind of a Silver Surfer vibe going on there. That's so cool. I dig it. That's really, really cool. I really think that's neat. So that, of course, is the incredibly talented Tari, who's doing work already. So I'm excited. That is going to be, and that's actually not our character. That's one of the bad guys, but this is a way to comment about it. Well, of course you're going to refrain from comment, Tren. I assume that this meets with your approval. So I'll just, you know, I'll just...
Oh, yeah. Guys, I need you all to describe our main character as soon as we get
Yes, and that's what, and that's exactly right. So let's get the music going. Exactly, him or her. Correct. It can be either. So let me pop up YouTube. Let's see. Let's come up with a. Let me think of a good space game soundtrack. Good space game soundtrack. How about?
I don't play many space games, so.
I think I have
what
one.
is there, like XCOM and Mass Effect and...
I'm gonna go with No Man's Sky OST.
Or that.
I think that should be good. It'll be atmospheric.
So
and
what is the dude's name I'm drawing right now? Because I have not played this game.
Okay. This is one of the bad guys. This is one of the Gromulans. The Gromulans are the bad guys, basically. Is this fan service to the furries? No. No.
Just for trending.
Just for trending. It's only fan service to trends specifically. Okay, so let me read the opening. Tari is kind of quiet. I can up her.
Okay.
She's not quiet on my end too much. But
well, the problem is that my PC tends to readjust the volume automatically.
Okay. I think, okay, so check out, first of all, guys, how about the music? How's the music sounding? Music good, bad, or indifferent? First of all, is music too loud, too soft, or is it okay? And then second, we'll ask about Tari, but let me get the music first. Did you say what music? How about that? Is that any better, Elias? Music is too loud? All right. How about that? I am planning on talking a lot. so I do want to make sure. Okay, how's that? Is that, I just cut it down. Is that better? Is that better? Good, bad, and different? Is that better? Is that better? Music is definitely too loud. Okay, how's that? I just turned it down. It's good now? Lovely. Okay, now let's figure out, let's get Terry's voice covered.
Test, test, test.
So,
1, 2, 3.
hold on a second, let me get the mixer up. Okay, mixer is up now. Okay, so now go ahead and speak.
La la la, test, test. Nice weather today or something.
How's that? Is that better, guys?
Test, test. Oh, so here's the thing I actually know about Star Trek. Because, as some people who know me might know, is that I used to be really huge into My Little Pony. And I know that the character Discord is based on Q from Star Trek. So that's a
okay. So that does more of it. Okay, so they're saying for you to come up a little bit more, which is interesting, because on my end, you sound okay, but...
Let me try to adjust it here. Hope there won't be too much background noise.
How's
How
that?
about now?
How's that?
Test.
Better, guys? Better?
Test, test, test. Shooby-doo.
Let's see. Wait for delay. Terry should be a bit louder. He says you could probably... Terry's just too soft-spoken.
That's the first time anybody told me that.
Okay, so maybe can you come up another notch then, and maybe that'll be good.
Okay. I'll try that. Oops, that was the wrong button.
Terry really needs to talk for an effective test. Okay.
Okay. Test, test, test. See, it already went down automatically again. That's a problem with Windows because it does that.
Okay, I think that sounded better. Chat did she sound better there?
I'll just try to speak louder. I think
Terry is good. Okay, Kill says
okay.
you're officially good. All right, cool. Okay, JLC says good. Lovely. All right, good. We are set to go. All right, let's get moving, guys. Let me read you the mission, and then we will name our character. This is one case where I think you need to know who the mission is first before we can do the proper name. So, here we go, guys. Star Strider. The mission. A rogue tracer, this is taken from the Encyclopedia Galactica, is a hunter of fugitives, criminals, and wanted beings who have a price on their heads. Formerly known as bounty hunters, they're licensed by the Tracebeam organization. Elite rogue tracers are known as, wait for it, Star Strider. Okay. Special message follows. Thank you for the follow, GG Rocks. The Gromulans have kidnapped President Zarin of Galaxy 1 Federation. He has been taken to a quadrant in the northern hemisphere of the planet Earth. It is feared that he is being brain scanned at this very moment, and the Zand Corporation assures us that his cephaloprotector will hold out only for a further 48 gravity hours. After that time, our computer defense codes will be in Gromulan hands, and probably in the hands of our enemies, the Empire of the Purple Flag. You, that's you, chat, are the best rogue tracer in Sector 6. In the galactic top money-making table, you rank 97. So, like, you're a really badass League of Legends player. You have been chosen very carefully, and your mission, should you decide to accept it, standard contract, MI, special rates, is as follows. You will make your way to Earth under the pretext of your rogue tracer activities, locate the President, and, this part is in all caps, get him out. Space Fleet 7 will be waiting in Earth orbit for your signal. Please note that successful completion of your mission will make you very rich, but if you do not accept the assignment, Tracebeam assure us that they cannot guarantee the future flow of criminal records to your terminal for tracing. Please indicate your acceptance of the mission, YN. I'm going to assume we all say yes. Thank you. Further details now follow. The Gromulans are a humanoid, hyper-intelligent people of unknown origin who have previously only dabbled in world-scale terrorism. They are experts in the construction of androids and are masters of illusion. They are the originators of Illuso Vision 70 for Galaxy Ents Corporation, but were robbed of all copyright in the last century. Their latest invention is the Illuzoscope, a portable illusion generator. The Gromulans will be expecting a rescue attempt, so beware. That's also in all caps. To assist you, we are activating our planted spy androids in that sector. Look out for these and the code match signal, but be extremely careful. The Groms are experts in turning dedicated androids. The Gromulans have been using Earth as a base for the last century. It is a small, insignificant planet on the edge of the galaxy. Once heavily populated, but now in decline, most of its native inhabitants have emigrated to Alphacent. Its only source of credits is the servicing of freight cruisers and the mining of salt. Unfortunately, the Phozon crystal does not function in that solar system, and we cannot pinpoint locations with sensormatics. You will have to signal the rescue fleet once you have found the President. The remoteness of the Earth and the lack of sensor detection has meant that fugitives have flocked to the planet. You will find many targets on Earth, so you may be kept busy in your normal profession. This makes the rescue more difficult, but it also strengthens your cover. Okay, so I'll go on with the enemies and stuff later, but I think that gives us enough to start with. So chat, the question that I have for all of you now is who we should create, what we should do to nominate our character. So I will take the, let's see, what should we name our character? Now, to get a name here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take nominations. I'll take the first 6 that I see. They need to be full names. They need to be space-oriented names. They need to be awesome Rogue Tracer sound names. Thank you for the follow, El Pepit. They can be male or female. In fact, it might even be cooler to have a female Rogue Tracer because we haven't had a female character in a while. So what should we name our character? Give me some names. Only one name per person, please. Dick Starspeed. All right. What else we got? I nominate Lobo. Lobo what?
Don't you know Lobo from the DC comics? Who is basically what you just described earlier. It was a joke.
Oh, really? No, I never heard of Lobo. I thought you were saying
Lobo is the best.
I thought you meant like, Lobot from Star Wars.
No. Lobo is like he's like a space bounty hunter who's also like a biker, but in space.
Oh, okay. That's cool. No, I never heard of that. I'm going to have to look that up. X5 with Sitara Shadow Space. Ooh, that's a good one. Grand Glukacard. No, we're not going to do Grand Glukacard. Els Roy Jones. Dart Cloakster. These are I like all of these actually. I haven't seen a single one that I'm like, eh. Neberon Arvanel. Oh, I am honored, Dunsel. Arven L. I like that. I like that. John Luck Pickard. Andro Medina. These are good, guys. You guys brought your A game today. All right, that's good. That's good. We got 6 good ones. Although I'm a little shaky on Dick Starspeed, but the rest of them I think are really good. So we've got, they're very different kinds. We've got Dick Starspeed, Sitara Shadow Space, Els Roy Jones, Dart Cloakster, Neberon Arvanel, and Andro Medina. These are good ones. So I'm going to open the poll. You guys can vote for this. The top, let's say, 2 or 3 vote getters will go into the semifinal or final round, and we'll nominate it that way. So please type in exclamation point, sorry, not exclamation point, $ vote, space, and then the number that you want. So we've got a vote for Dick Starspeed. So go ahead and get your votes in now. Let's come up with a character name. It's pretty good, actually, this soundtrack so far. Alright, so we've got 1 vote each for Dick Starspeed, Sitara Shadow Space. We've got 1 vote for Dark Cloakster. We've got 2 votes for Neberon Arvanel and 2 votes for Andro Medina. Now we got 2 votes for Sitara Shadow Space. Ah, see, I like it. Now we got votes for Sitara, for Neberon, and Andro. All right, I'm gonna.
Allowed to vote as well?
Sure, of course, of course.
Yay!
What's your vote?
I have to type it first.
The vote is. He waits for it expectantly. Ah, Sitara Shadow Space. No love for Dick.
Draw a girl for once.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. All right, we got some good choices. No love for Dick. Well, you know, Kilobyte. Trouden has popped on with Sitara Shadow Space. Yeah, I like Sitara Shadow Space. That's good. But I really do like all of these. I really think all of these are good. You were trying to hide Andromeda. Yes, I think you... I don't think it was that hidden. I just happen to like that. I thought it was a cool name, Tovik. All right.
Something tells me that most of these names are probably some... low-key references.
I would think so. I have a feeling I recognize Neberon Arvanel somehow. I think somehow that may connect.
I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I know. It has this very close connection. Well, somebody said the other day, they said they did this thing where they said if you rearrange your first name's letters in alphabetical order, that becomes the title of a fantasy novel. And so a couple of people were doing this, and I was like... And I tried to do that with mine, and I'm like, okay, my real name. So if I did mine in alphabetical order, it would be Egger, I'm like, so this is why my name does not work whenever we do the combination things. My name would be Egger. I'm like, Egger is not a fantasy novel. Egger is possibly a cute little independent game, maybe, that sells on Steam for $3, but it is definitely not a fantasy novel name. Albert, yeah, see? That's it, Albert, the fantasy novel.
Odd.
Yeah, see, I think it works with some names, but not others. I think someone came up with it and they're like, look, it worked with my name. And I'm like, yours would be Cost. See, I could see that as like a fantasy city name. I could see Albert as a fantasy city name. I still don't think Egger works, though. I don't think there's any way that Egger works. Okay, we're going to close this poll. All right, so the winners are Satara Shadowspace, Nebron Arvanel, and Andromedina. So we will do another vote with those. So, let's see. Thank you for the follow, Elro Goloco. Welcome to the Arvanauts. All right, so what should we name our character? Okay, so Satara Shadowspace gets place of presence because of this. And then, what else have we got? I gotta go up and find... Okay, Nebron Arvanel, right. Arvanel and Andro Medina. All right, here we go, guys. Here is your final vote. The name of your first pet and the name of the street you grew up on. Well, that would be a good space name for me because that would make my character name Trilby Centennial. Trilby Centennial is actually a badass agent name. Thank you for the follow, James Hetfield. Welcome to the Arvanauts. Trilby Centennial. Like Trilby, yeah, that was the name of my, I had a beagle. My first pet was a small 16-pound beagle called Trilby, which actually in English means ball of fluff. Yeah, she was really sweet. Trilby Centennial. Soundtrack, it freaking is awesome. Why have I not heard about this soundtrack before? And it's funny, I play No Man's Sky a little bit also, but for some reason I never pay attention to the soundtrack. Wow. It's kind of badass. All right, Satara Shadowspace is getting a lot of love, Terry. I have a feeling you're going to get your wish. Scrap the voting and go with Trilby Beagle. Trilby Beagle is pretty awesome, I admit. It's a good soundtrack, right, James? Good soundtrack. Well, I figure if James Hetfield tells me a soundtrack sounds good, that's got to mean something, right? I would think.
So our main character, do we also get to decide what race they are, or are they all
no, they
like humanoid?
Apparently they're humanoid. It doesn't actually say what race, but apparently they are humanoid. And yeah. Satara Shadowspace. Looks like it's dominating. All right, I'm going to put out a last call here, but it looks like chat is very firm on what they want. I do want to give shout-outs, though, to Nebron Arvanel and Andromedina as being two good names. I also like those names, too. Human. You want to link a Twitch clip advert for TariToons and Kilobyte? Yeah, I saw the clip that you made. You could certainly do that. Definitely feel free to put up the Twitch clip advert. I'm always happy to promote Terry and Kill stuff, and actually any of the stuff from the folks that do my voice acting as well. All right, it looks like people are last chance, guys. Last chance to get in on this vote. I feel like we've come a long way from the days of Pork Thunder Cake and Flex Buff Chest. I feel like we've come a long way.
I remember Pork and his 5 twin brothers.
Pork Thunder Cake. Oh god.
How often did he die? He died a lot.
Oh god, did he die a lot? I forget what was Pork Thunder Cake in Forest of Doom. I don't remember which one that was in, but he died a lot.
No, I think that was Creature of Havoc.
Oh, yeah, Creature of Havoc. Oh, God. Well, part of that, I have a feeling even if we named him Arnold Schwarzenegger, he would have died a lot. Like, it's just, that book was just brutal. What's up, Cloud Kingdom? This European time slot, I do this actually, I've been doing this on Tuesdays during the day for a long time. Day for me. And this is also where we do our Adventures in Middle-earth campaign, which is pretty awesome. Pork Thunder Cake was the daughter. I can't remember her dad's name. Right, that's right. That's right. That was the first one that we had that was generational because the dad, I can't remember what the dad was. I don't remember. Okay. So we're going to close our poll. That's it, guys. Good choices today. Sitara Shadow Space. I like it.
Yes.
All right. That's a good name. That name is so good, I could see myself using it in perhaps a story and never giving you credit. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I would do that. All right. Now we have to figure out statistics as well. But before we do that, let's talk about the enemies that we can face now that Terry has a name to work with. So, likely enemies. First of all, the Gromulans. These are the main bad guys. Gromulans are very intelligent humanoids who would rather surrender than risk a fight in the physical sense. They specialize in deception and can talk the three hind legs off a Wookiee. They were nomadic, but have settled on Earth for the last 100 gravity years, where they have developed their androids and patent illusoscope. Some reports talk of an addiction to chess and small Earth snails. Gromulan androids. These can vary tremendously in design and type. They are the main power base of the Groms. Thank you for the follow, Etten. And the XL class are very dangerous. The XL class are super dangerous. I would give you credit, of course, X5. You are skilled in techniques of fighting androids and will have a good chance against guards, Grompals, admins, sweepertrons, etc., but try to steer clear of XLs. If you do get close to one, probe for deactivation points. The Groms fear their creations turning on them, and all models have built-in weak spots. As with all standard types, a badly damaged android will self-destruct. Okay, then we've got fugitives and criminals. You may meet anyone from a tax-dodging Ferian to a pirate prince. Many will leave you alone, but if they suspect you of being a rogue tracer, they may run or attack. Remember, you operate within the galactic law and are bound not to kill human beings. If you do, you will be a fugitive and be hunted down. If you do trace fugitives, cache and mark them for future collection. I'll talk more about that in a second. Then we get the Hooligans. This is not... What's up, Ebonemic? What's going on, man? Now, Hooligans, this is not H-O-O-L-I-G-A-N-S. This is H-O-U-L-G-A-N-S. Hooligans. These are local feuding groups of native Earth origin believed to number 80 to 90 tribes. They base their fanaticism on some long-forgotten religion, which revolves around colors of clothing, generally scarves. Each tribe has its own style and color. Their individual combat potential is 0, but they can be irritating in large numbers. You might be able to use them to your advantage. Most important among the tribes are Ral, Juve, Steen, Elpool, and Geners. That's really cute. Liverpool, Juventus, yeah. Do not on any occasion wear a colored scarf. Hooligans will only take offense. And then we've got, last but certainly not least, illusory monsters and demons. Groms have a liking for this sort of thing. Always remember that the illusoscope will not be very far away. You will be frightened. Gromulan illusions have been known to make a Brontian take fright. Note that they can also be on a very large scale. So one thing to keep in mind, guys, is that the Gromulans use illusions all the time, so be aware that illusions are always an aspect of this book. Then we've got weapons. So rogue tracers do not carry many personal arms. The basic weapon is called the Catchman, designed by Ulador Zoni. It shoots out a fine liquid plastic which takes the form of netting, wraps itself around the prey, and thus totally incapacitates him, her, or it. Unfortunately, it has a high failure rate, 33%. Rogue tracers are skilled in the use of all weapons, blasters, stun guns, even the old-fashioned neutron swords, but in the last resort, they rely on their quick thinking, fast reflexes, and superb fitness. Alright, so we've got the Catchman. Alright, now let's get to the abilities, which you've all been waiting for. Now, most of these are standard, but there are 2 additional numbers which are important, which I'll get to. So, for this one, we need a die roller. Web shooters and lightsabers, basically. Yeah, it's basically Luke Spider-Man, is what we're talking about. So, okay. So, what I would like here is I need a volunteer to roll the dice, and I think I've had other people do it before, but since Kilobyte is here, and he is, unless anyone objects, Kilobyte is often our standard die roller. Are you able to do, old-fashioned neutron swords are a hassle, exactly, Cloud. So, Kilobyte, are you able to do the die rolling today, sir? And we will be on for another little over 2 hours, by the way, playing. I really like this illustration a lot, Terry. It's got this golden age of science fiction thing going on. I love the, and the sword, the laser sword.
Yeah, I thought of, like, the heavy metal comics.
Yeah.
Like inspiration, I think that works well.
I dig it. Oh, you're going to be stepping away for lunch. Someone else should probably do it. Okay. Can we have then a volunteer to roll? All you need to be able to do is to roll 2 6-sided dice. That's all you need. Trouden, you are my hero, sir. Trouden, that's right. You did this before, Trouden, and as I recall, you stepped in very well. So, Trouden, I give you, you are given the credibility of being the dice roller, and there's no pressure at all, so don't worry if all of chat gets mad at you if you don't get a roll right. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start out with skill. This is one of the most important rolls in the game. You roll 1 die. We're going to add 6 to the number and then enter the total in the skill box. So let's find out what our starting skill is going to be. Shows good fighting ability, basically.
Also, any requests as to how our heroine should look like, or do I get free hand?
I think you have free hand, but if chat wants to give some suggestions, they can do that. So chat, be adding in a few suggestions about things that, like characteristics of Sitara Shadow Space. Okay, 4. So we got a 10. That's not bad. 10 is a very solid skill. All right. Then we get, thank you for the follow, Pie Guy Bry. Welcome to the Arvanauts. Okay, so we've got a starting skill of 10. Now stamina. This is basically your hit points. For this one, you're going to roll 2 dice. We're going to add 12 to the result and add it to the stamina box. So let's do that up. I was thinking like the dancing sword, Dunsel. The dancing, singing sword. Small hands and orange hair. Elias says. No, are you having her make something out of Suicide Squad? What do we got going on here? Or Fifth Element, actually. Ooh. 5 plus 6 plus 12 equals 23. Wow, we have got health for days. Nice roll, Trouden. Look at that, 23 stamina. All right. And then we've got luck. So luck, again, is, as it says, how lucky you are. Even a top rogue tracer needs 1. So thank you for the follow, Pirate. Welcome to the Arvanauts. Please roll 1 die, and we'll add 6 to the result for luck. Oh, Neuron Dance. Oh, by the Pointer Sisters. Oh, my goodness. I haven't thought about the Pointer Sisters in ages.
What are the Pointer Sisters?
They were a trio, like a soul-singing trio, sort of like Destiny's Child with Beyonce was, you know. I'm trying to think of one of the things they had, or Shaka Khan was another one like that. My dad used to love a group of them called the 3 Degrees. They were really cool. All right, let's see. 2 plus 5 plus 6. No, just 1 die, Trouden. For the luck, it's just 1 die for luck. I'll take it down. I'll take it down. No one ever. Isn't jump them and then jump in for my love. Jump in if you wanna be. Kisses in the night. Can jump. Something like that. Okay, so we've got an 8 luck. So we have average luck, but we don't need luck when we're built like a tank. That's how I'm gonna put this down. All right.
Ooh, built like a tank.
Built like a
I'm
tank.
using that one.
Well, I mean, she's just strong. I feel like her name is Shadow Space doesn't necessarily mean that she's gonna look like Jabba the Hutt, but you know, so I have something like that.
Well, Jabba the Hutt is not exactly built like a tank, more like a blob.
Built like a blob more than a tank. Oh, you're right, Trouden. I'm sorry. 3, quite right. It's 9, not 8. My bad. 9. So that's pretty good. 10 skill, 9 luck, 23 stamina. Okay. Now the next statistic, which is different for this book, is called fear. Since the Gromulans rely so heavily on illusions that are calculated to scare, you must at times test your fear factor, and so you have to test fear. But the fear score will stay the same throughout the mission. So. For this one, you need to roll 1 die, add 6 to the result. That will be our total fear score. So we'll see how much we'll get scared. She looks like China. Sitara sits in Tarzia. Yeah. The soundtrack is perfect for this. All right, so that gives us a fear of 10. Very nice. And then the last statistic, and this one is one that you don't actually need to roll for, is time. Now, time is very critical in this mission because we must complete our task before time runs out. So we begin with 48 time units. This one is set by the game. 48 time units. These 48 time units will reduce as we progress in our quest, and we have to note the reductions carefully. We don't want to waste time. We want to spend time gathering clues that will save time later on. If our time score ever reaches 0, we have failed. The Gromulans have extracted the defense codes from the President's brain. Okay. And then the last thing to note is that there will be certain cases where we're supposed to use our stamina and skill score for other purposes like aerial combat, shooting at craft, etc. But that's, we'll worry about that later on. Also, when fighting an android, if we ever throw double sixes when fighting an android, we found the weak spot and deactivated it. So that's the deal with that. You don't hear music? Can you guys not hear the music? I really hope you can hear the music. It's pretty cool. Can you guys not hear that? Can you guys hear the music?
I am hearing music, but probably not the one you are hearing.
Now you hear it, okay. Let me go back a little bit. Okay, alright, I want to make sure we had music. Sorry about that. Okay, okay, be right back, lunchtime. Okay, sounds good. Good, now we're all here, good. Alright, lovely. So we are set to go, guys. We have Satara Shadowspace. She has a skill of 10, a stamina of 23, a luck of 9, a fear factor of 10. We have 48 hours in which to rescue the president, and we have a catchman. So let me save this. Save as...
Okay, I shall attempt to design Satara.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Built like a tank, yes?
Well, she has the strength of a tank. She's built like a... Yeah, she's apparently got some... She can handle it. Satara moves at a shadow pace. Yeah, she's right. She's stealthy, but, she's... Yeah, built like a tank. Okay. Oh, and also I have an illustration for you guys. Thank you for the follow, Lucas Bukasher, I think, has become an Arvanaut. Welcome. All right.
And we are human, yes.
And I believe we are human, although it doesn't specify. Okay. But... Yeah, I don't know. The illustrations for this are not very clear, so I will have to track those down later on. So you will be dealing with Terry's awesome illustrations instead. Here we go. Shadow space, shadow slash, shadow underscore, shadow apostrophe. Now you want me to bump up Terry's volume again? All right.
Ah! I need a proper... corny 80s space fantasy pose. Let's see.
Why is that so low? Okay, how's that, guys? Okay. So now, how are we doing on sound?
Test.
Okay, music's back now. How about, yeah, now how about Terry?
Test.
This is the soundtrack for No Man's Sky, Cloud Kingdom. I really would like not to have this linked. Terry would need to talk. They want you to speak more.
Isn't it odd how the bad guy here, the Green Wolf guy, has like way too many horns on his head? Like in addition to the ears?
He does have far too many horns. Also, welcome to the Arvanauts Trito. A little louder. Ah, man, I don't understand. Because I don't know what's going on my end, because I'm like, the music is blowing out my ears, and you guys say that I can't hear it. So I don't understand why. Terry is as high as it can get. I also don't know why they have linked my speakers and the volume. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, wait a minute. You know what?
Maybe I can
Maybe there's a way I can handle that.
make my audio up. I don't have anything interesting to say, so.
The music is louder than Terry's voice. All right. Okay, can you hear the music? Can you hear it? That's the key. Can you hear the music? Doesn't need to be loud, just can you hear it?
Assist.
Can you hear the music now? Perfect. Yay! Okay, good. Ear trumpet volume control. I may need to do something like that. I already have, you know, had this stuff in it. I can hear the music, but it's low. That's fine. I don't want it to be super loud. If I make it higher than that, then it kind of blows out. Plus, it also changes tracks. Okay, here we go. So, you have docked into Earth Shuttle Station 23. All lines to Ear, Section 3, a bright neon light announces. You park your Oberon craft in the short-term airlock and walk down to a dirty-looking ticket office. There's no one around. You bang on the small plexiglass window and eventually a Megacorp android appears and stutters at you. It should have been out of commission years ago. It has difficulty in understanding your request for a ticket on the next shuttle, but eventually takes your credit card and utters what you will soon recognize as a traditional Earth saying. That'll do nicely. As you trudge away down the corridor, you hear the Megacorp squeaking at you to, have a nice day. There are about 20 seats in the shuttle, of which only 5 are occupied. You are directed to your seat and given a copy of the safety procedures by a service android, and you sit down on something sticky. The android asks what you will have. Will you reply, nothing, a cocktail, or food cubes? Okay, so. Nothing, a cocktail, or food cubes. What's up, Dragonsphere? Yes, we're facing off against stick figures. That's exactly right. Hey, Dragon, would you be so kind, sir, when you get the chance, you don't have to do it right now, but would you be so kind when you get the opportunity to find the internal illustrations for Star Strider? That would be super useful, like you've done for the other books, because we're doing Star Strider now. We were going to be doing this next week, but we had to reconfigure and move Tolkien to next week, and we're doing Star Strider this week. So, just when you get a chance, it doesn't have to be this right this second. Obviously, you're probably at work, but just if you can in the future. All right, so no cheesecake option. Nothing, a cocktail or food cubes. You want to know what it'll say?
Can we order something with raisins?
We could, but we won't. Because this is the future and people are more enlightened now.
This joke never gets old.
And the funny thing is that those raisins that they give are the same raisins that they give today. Like, they're even older, again, even more wrinkled.
Well aged.
Yeah, well aged.
Like a good whiskey or something.
Right. Right. Precisely.
Wow, this is a stupid pose.
Dragon. Liquid courage is better than eating stale food cubes. Vote for raisin scones. You stop it. Alright. Last call, last call. Food cubes, a cocktail, or nothing. Last call. We sat down on something sticky. This is worse than a greasy spoon. I know it is, right? Okay, food cubes it is. A good idea. You will need all your energy when you are on the planet. Add 1 stamina point. I like this because you can't actually... I'm pretty sure you can't go above your max stamina. Let me just confirm that's the case. So since you can't go above your max stamina, I don't know why they even give you... let's see. You know, I'm going to look at one of the others. Hold on. Okay. It always says that you can't go above your initial scores. This one doesn't say that. So it doesn't say you can't go above your initial scores. So I'm going to assume that you can get an extra point of stamina. So I guess you can go to 24. There you go. All right. So food cubes it was. So you add a stamina point, and there we go. Okay. The shuttle lands in the dark segment of the planet in what appears to be a desolate area of Sector 3. There are no habitation lights, and you assume that this base station... Thank you for the follow, Christian, 8662 or 6Z. Welcome to the Arbonauts. There are no habitation lights, and you assume that this base station was built in the day when shuttles needed huge landing areas. All the passengers troop out into the station. You look up and see the familiar Rocket a Higher sign and go over to a shoddy counter. There is no android on duty. You stand there reading Zipcar brochures while all the other passengers file towards the Silverhound, which is waiting outside, smoke belching from its rocket outlets. Its destination is Madrid. In the far corner, a Sweepertron takes a break from its work and looks right at you. Do you wait around for a Zipcar? Will you talk to the android? Or will you join the others in the Silverhound? So... Shoot. Let's see. Okay, wait around for a Zipcar, talk to the android, or join the others in the Silverhound. Okay, there we go. What's it going to be, guys? Wait around for a Zipcar, talk to the android, or join the others in the Silverhound? What's up, Rapscallion? How are you? Always a pleasure to see you, Rapscallion. Good to see everyone who's here, by the way. Thank you all for popping on and hanging out with us. Always a pleasure to have everyone here. All right, we got 5 votes. So I think people want to talk to this android. People are like, I saw Blade Runner. I want to talk to the android. Doing well, Rap. Doing well. Doing well. Yeah, get into Blade Runner fast. I've seen things you wouldn't believe, like tears in the rain. It's a stylish, it's a stylish movie, Cloud. And of course, the book that it's based upon is tremendous. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I actually teach Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep in my science fiction course, and I always use Blade Runner as a sort of counterpoint to it, because it's not. It's based on it, but there's some serious departures in Blade Runner from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but some good stuff. And that whole thing, I don't know if you know this, Cloud, but that whole speech where he's doing the whole, like, I've seen things you wouldn't believe, that's all improv. Rutger Hauer basically improv that whole speech. And Ridley Scott was just like, keep rolling, keep rolling. I like sci-fi, for sure I do. I like science fiction. I'm more of a fantasy person than I am a science fiction person, but I like both. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I like Star Wars quite a bit, although people say that's science fantasy, but still. No, I like sci-fi. I don't like gooey, horrible sci-fi. So I don't like Alien. I don't like Alien versus Predator. I don't, because those are basically horror movies to me, so I don't like that stuff. But I like cool science fiction. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do that. Talk to the android. You walk towards the android. He looks at you and immediately says, I've seen things. No, he doesn't do that. It drops its vacuum attachment and goes out of a side door. You follow, turn a corner, and find it waiting for you. It presses the code match signal and you respond. It is one of the planted androids. It gives you as much information as it has gleaned. It tells you that the Groms are based in 4 cities, and that the Silverhound bus is the only mode of public travel to these cities. The Rocket-A-Hire company has withdrawn its services due to lack of demand, and private zip cars are few and far between. All high-level Groms are linked into the bases through their comm terms. If you can get access to one of these terminals, you could probably get a lot of important information. When its message is ended, it begins to self-destruct. Okay, so let's see. Groms are in 4 cities. There you go. What's up, Shalom? What's going on? Yeah, I know, Rap. And also check it out. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but check out the nature of its self-destruction. Actually, let me hold on. Let me show you guys a larger screen. Hold on. Where my webcam at? There it is. See? That's the poor thing self-destructing. It's so sad. All right. Okay. Nice. Shalom. That's what I like to hear. Okay. So, so we got some valuable information there, guys. The comm terms from high-level Groms and link to bases. And they're based in 4 cities. Almost need to cue the death music. Yeah. Slagged itself. That's exactly right, yeah. Okay, here we go. You board the bus. All the passengers are from the shuttle. You sit down and strap up. The Silverhound lurches and then speeds off. And I'm going to do this again to show you guys, because I don't have any of the images right now. But that's what it looks like. It's coming to your soul. Oh, man. From their conversation, you detect that most of the passengers are sales reps. The main topic is the price of salt mining equipment. One passenger, obviously a Grom, sits his head in the small first-class section. He is being attended by his own android. You begin to doze off while the vid screen in front of you shows endless adverts from Galactic Ants Incorporated. Deduct 2 time units. Doop doop. Suddenly you wake up with a start. You look out of the window to see lights flashing. The bus slows down and lands in a swirl of dust. 2 Grompol androids get in and announce that they want to check IDs. When they see your rogue tracer's license, they grab you and throw you outside. Do you run for it or go along with them? Alright guys, what are we going to do? Are we going to run for it or go along with them? Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. No problem, Dragon. Whatever. I don't want to cause issues though, man. Like, whatever's easiest for you, okay? Sorry, Rapscallion. Groms are Gromulans. They are the main bad guy. And the whole premise of this book is that the Gromulans have captured the president of the Galaxy Federation, and they're trying to scan his brain. And basically, in 48 hours, the special little thing he has to protect his brain will break down, and then they'll have the nuclear codes, and then we're all in big trouble. So you have to basically get the president out. That's the idea. Okay, so now the poll's open. So run for it or go with them. Sure, Rap. Elon Musk would make it better. Yes, exactly. You're all riding a Tesla. So you want to run for it or go along with them? What's it going to be, guys? Go ahead and make your vote as to what we should do. Can we challenge them to a dance-off? Yeah, Hyperloop, man. Get with the times. Yeah, that's right. What's up, Chaotix? Check out Satara. Satara's got that, has got the look of the, what was her name? Brigitte Nielsen in, Rocky 4. She's got that sort of squared off haircut.
I think her name is pronounced Brigitte Nielsen.
Oh, Brigitte. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Brigitte.
I have not seen that movie though. I have seen Red Sonja a billion times.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's
oh my
much
God,
better.
That movie is so terrible.
Yeah,
so
it really
great.
is. That's much more worth it than seeing Rocky 4, which is not really worth it. Stop calling out the lurkers. I know. I shouldn't do that. Except you voted. Like, when you vote, you no longer lurk. No. Okay, so we're gonna... Did I last call this already? I did not. Let me last call it. Alright, and then we're gonna do what's necessary. Yeah, exactly. Red Sonja is awful and amazing. As opposed to the movies that are just awful and not amazing.
No, the Red Sonja movie is.
Yeah. Well, no.
Terrible in all the right ways.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I feel like... I mean, honestly, I think that Conan was a little bit like that, too. I feel like, you know, Conan was awful and amazing in similar ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same people made the movies. I mean, it's very much... I mean, even Arnold Schwarzenegger is in the Red Sonja movie, so it's like the love interest.
Yes.
So not believable. It's so bad.
What? But he says things like, to crush your enemies, drive them before you, and hear the lamentations of the women.
That's Conan, not Red Sonja.
I know, but I'm saying, like, that it's okay to be a love interest if that was the kind of thing he'd be willing to say. You know, I mean, that's a pickup line right there. And then he would probably, like, misunderstanding, like, literally pick her up, and then she would kick his ass, and then, you know.
Well, I mean, she only falls in love with him because he can kick her ass, because that's her whole.
That's her whole deal,
thing.
Right?
Yeah, that she will only date a guy who can kick her ass.
So Conan is sort of the guy who fits. I'd fall for that line completely, Shalom. The female lead in Spike Lee's She's Gotta Have It. See, I've seen Do the Right Thing. I haven't seen She's Gotta Have It, actually. All right, let's close this poll. So we're going to go with them. All right. You are pushed into the Grom Paul craft and made to stand in front of the Grom commander, who is sitting down. He watches you very carefully, then asks who you are tracing. Do you give him a name or refuse to speak? Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things I like about this world is that it seems very consistent within itself. It handles its own rules really well. What's up, Optic? How you doing, man? I'm going to crash this whole mission and make it big on this rock of a planet. The hell with rogue tracing. I've decided that Earth is where I'm going to make my fortune. I'm going to leave the rogue tracer life behind. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me.
She has it officially as a tattoo now somewhere. That statement.
Badass. I like it.
Yeah. I didn't choose what was it? Rogue,
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting link. Did you? Yeah, she does look like that, actually. Do you see that link in chat, Terry?
Check. It's not loading. Ah, there it is. Yeah, kind of like that, but like with more squarish hair.
Yeah. It's a good question, Trouden, but we're not going to know until we choose it. We will not know. Really digging the soundtrack. She reminded you of Grace Jones? Yes. Yes, I can see that. I can see that.
I need to look this.
Speaking of Conan. You know a movie that I've never been able to figure out if that, like, there's some movies that some people would claim are great because they're awful, and I disagree. Krull is not. I think Krull is a legitimately solid movie. I think there's problems with it, but it's a legitimately solid movie. It's not an awful movie that's good anyway. Same thing with Neverending Story. But I've never been able to figure out what I think of the movie The Beastmaster with Mark Singer in it. He's got the 2 ferrets and everything. I've never been able to decide if that's a terrible movie that's good because it's terrible or if it's actually a fairly good movie. I've never quite been able to figure it out. Even James Earl Jones is in that. Yeah, Krull is awesome. Yeah, I never knew about 65 Days of Static, James, until I started listening to the soundtrack. Yeah, Krull is really good. I actually even ran a debate case based on Krull because I thought there's a really cool part in Krull about, I won't spoil it for people, but there's a really cool part in Krull about the Cyclops in there are really awesome characters because of the way that they make these particular Cyclops. And Krull was neat. Plus, also, and I've said this many times, the glaive. Okay? The glaive. That is the coolest freaking weapon of all time. Any red-blooded nerd of any type wanted a goddamn glaive. That was the real tragedy of that movie. Forget about the, like, oh, he chooses love. Screw that. Choosing love. Where'd the glaive? Oh, man. It did. And James Earl Jones was James Earl Jones, I always get this confused. Was James Earl Jones in Beastmaster or was he in one of the Conan movies as like the Serpent Priest? I don't remember which one he was in, but he's in one of them. I know that for sure. I just can't remember which one.
I think he's in Conan, but
he's like the priest of the evil priest of the Serpent
yeah, that was
Temple.
In one of the Conan movies.
It's one of the
like
Conans,
evil,
I think. Yeah.
But I saw that movie last when I was like 6 years old, so.
It was Conan. In Beastmaster, the dude who was in, now here's a random one, the guy who was in Good Times, if anyone remembers JJ, Dynamite, that one. So his father, the dude who played his father was in Beastmaster. There's a random reference. It was Conan? Okay, all right. Yeah. Cool, all right. So we are tied up, guys. Give a name to, refuse to speak and give the target to. So we need someone to break this tie. What are we going to do about this? The thing about Conan and Schwarzenegger is that, you know, Schwarzenegger obviously is not going to, we're not going to see any Oscar-winning performances out of Schwarzenegger. But as far as the look, I mean, Schwarzenegger did look like Conan. I'm sorry. Like, of the groups that were available at that time, that dude was a beast. I mean, he looked like him at the time. And, like, there were some people that I could see that, like, you know, Hugh Jackman, some people. But see, Hugh Jackman would not be able to get that. He wasn't big enough. He wasn't tall enough for that. So, John Amos. That's it. Yep. He had like a staff or something. I don't remember the deal with that. There you go. Exactly, Optic. Okay. Refuse to speak and give up the target. All right. Let's see what we got. You are right to refuse. Rogue tracers never give any information on likely targets. The Grom accepts this fact and smiles. He stares at you without speaking. You look him up and down and realize how remarkably slight he is and how easy he would be to overpower. Just then, his neck lengthens and his head stretches from where he is sitting to right in front of your face. His mouth widens and is full of fangs about to bite your head off. He looks like this. What
are you doing?
That's what he's doing. That's what he does. His mouth widens and is full of fangs about to bite your head off. You must test your fear factor. Okay, so to test your fear factor, the way that we do this, it's very similar to luck. You're going to roll, I believe it is 2 dice, if I'm not mistaken. And you're going to be, yeah, then a wave of halitosis hits you. You're going to roll 2 dice, and then you're going to try to get equal to or less. If you become equal to or less, then you are not frightened. So, Trouton, could I ask you to roll 2 dice, please? And our target is 10. We're looking for a 10 or less on 2 dice. Whoops. What's up, Elenea? 2 + 5 = 7. All right, that means we are good. So we are not, in fact, frightened. And we are allowed back on the bus. All right. Back on the bus, the others stare at you. The Silverhound takes off and hurtles along 100 meters above the old Earth Highway. As the sun begins to rise, you notice the landscape. The Grom ahead is watching an episode from the latest Galactic Ents soap on his private vid screen. The hard sell commercials continue on the screen in front of you. Deduct 2 time units. Alright, so 4 hours have passed, guys, so far. Okay. A stop is announced for breakfast. I'm going to actually, we haven't done a save spot yet, so I'm going to do a save point here. Save point. Okay. A stop is announced for breakfast. The Silverhound sets down in a craft park by a small diner. This is no galactic service station. A sign proudly proclaims, Julio's, under original Earthling management. You follow the others inside. There's a wide selection of food cubes and drink tubes for sale. While you tug at a tube, you turn around and come face to face with Kinta Lopsty, an escaped prisoner whom you originally arrested. He recognizes you and rushes out of the door. Do you give chase, or will you keep a low profile and let him go? Alright, what's it going to be? Excuse me. Keep a low profile and let him go, or chase? Are we undercover here? So, kind of. The fact that you're a rogue tracer is known to them, but they don't know what you're tracing. In other words, a rogue tracer can be hired privately to go after, like, you know, escaped criminals and things like that. They don't know. Nobody knows that you as the rogue tracer are trying to find the president and get him back. So technically, you're saying you're a rogue tracer is not going to make everyone be like, wait, what? But if you were like, I'm the rogue tracer and I'm going to get the president back, then they're going to be like, wait, you know, then they're going to be pissed off. So that's basically the idea. Hello, Radiate. And yes, that's kind of what this is. This is actually an interactive fighting fantasy gamebook session, but it's close enough. That's why it's under the D&D section. Excuse me. So the idea here is that you get to vote with the rest of chat to determine what the actions of our character, whose chat has named Satara Shadowspace, is. You are a rogue tracer, which is kind of like a bounty hunter. The president of the Galactic Federation has been kidnapped by your enemies, the Gromulans, and they are trying to scan his brain for the nuclear codes. You have 48 hours to rescue him before they get those codes, and so you now have 44 out of the 48 hours left. And you were on the planet Earth trying to find him. Thank you for the follow, Kyle Likes Football. Welcome to the Arbonauts. So basically you vote along with chat, and you can see the vote right now on the screen. Right now you have keeping a low profile and letting him go is winning with 6 votes, and give chase. The particular vote right now is there's this dude that you previously arrested that you just happen to run into. And the question is whether you're going to try to catch him again, or whether you're going to let him go. So I'm going to last call this. Yeah, I mean, so far you've used up 4 hours just getting to this spot, so. That's true. Also, if you ever decide that you want to change your vote, before the vote closes, you can just go $change vote, so that's all one word, change vote, and then space, and then the number that you want to change your vote to. So you can change your vote to another option if you wish. Satara, Shadow Space, ain't backing down. And this is all being live illustrated, by the way, by an extremely talented cartoonist and friend, TariToons, who is currently illustrating Satara Shadow Space.
Hello.
You can hear and see her right there. Well, you can see her drawing. Maybe she'd like to imagine herself as looking like this.
I wish.
That's not bad. I mean, you know, you could do worse, right? It's close. We got a close couple of votes here.
This is actually the first, no, actually the second time I'm trying to design like a spacesuit-ish thingy.
Yeah. I think this is the first. I think it's the first one that you've done with Fighting Fantasy, right? I think this is the first space one that we've done.
Well, I mean, the only Fighting Fantasy thing I did so far in general was the previous one, Crypt of the Sorcerer. So.
No. You did a couple of. No, you did a book before that too. You did.
Did?
Yeah, you did Creature of Havoc.
No, I didn't.
You did something before that. I know you did one other one. I'm looking right now.
I'm like. Dead
Are you sure? Really?
I was just playing along, like in the chat, but I
thought you did. I thought you did drawings for. Really? Okay.
No, I did some doodles for.
Maybe it was the
D&D
doodles
group.
I'm thinking of. Okay. Okay.
What was the name again? I'm blank spacing here. The D&D group.
Oh, for the Adventures of Middle Earth
Infinity
or whatever.
and Beyond.
Yeah. Oh, and Infinity and Beyond. Okay.
Yeah, I did some doodles for that.
Wow.
Like,
See,
yeah.
you've become such a big part of the Fighting Fantasy things. I just assumed that you're okay. So that was the first one you've done. Okay. Well, yeah. So now you've got one fantasy and one. Well, also we spent a long time on Crypt of the Sorceress. That's part of it too. Is that we had a lot of sessions of it. All right. So give chase. Keep a low profile. I'm going to close this poll. So in a very narrow margin, keep a low profile. Excuse me. And let him go is 1. Okay, so you're going to keep a low profile and let him go. Alrighty. You break open a cube and bite into the sticky brown mess. Just then you hear the roar of rocket bikes, and before you can look up, Lopsty bursts in with his gang. You are surrounded. They swing clubs and finger their stun guns. Lopsty wants you to go with them. Do you try to fight, or will you go with them and try something later? Alright, Lopsty is back, that bastard. Vote 2, we have a good lawyer. I think you used that one before. What's up, Sofrina? We have the only weapon that we carry is called the Catchman, which is this thing that basically shoots out this sticky web to immobilize people. You're not supposed to kill humans. It's like against galactic law, and if you do, then you're a fugitive. So you're an expert in all kinds of weapons, like laser swords and blasters and guns and stuff like that. But the only weapon you carry on you right now is Catchman, but you are highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat, supposedly. That's the claim. However, there are a lot of guys. There are a lot of people. Maybe we can fight to get an opening to escape. That's possible. Okay, I'm going to last call this. James Hetfield has put in the vote 1. We're going to try to fight. Let's go meet our maker. Maybe it's just a barroom brawl. I mean, I'm sure that this guy who you originally arrested and threw in prison just is looking for a little fun, you know, entertainment. And I'm sure all he's going to do is just have his gang just kind of push you around like flag football. I'm sure. You sell this very well. I'm calm again. Yeah, I like to think that I'm totally believable. Dunsel's also good. Oh, you know what I was going to ask you, Dunsel? Have you seen the Dunsel? Have you seen the trailer for the new Netflix movie Bright, the one that has Will Smith in it? I just saw it, and I'm like, so this is Shadowrun? I just saw it last night, and I saw 2 trailers, and I'm like, this has got to be Shadowrun. And they're not saying it's Shadowrun, but it sure looks like Shadowrun. Gonna make up over some hot cups of Diner Joe and space Jello cubes, exactly. Alright, here we go, guys. You guys are going to try to fight. Alright. Lopsty tells the gang to drag you out. They throw you onto the ground and begin to squabble over who should take you on. They eventually decide on some sort of order, and you will have to fight each in turn. Yeah, I mean, it looks so much like Shadowrun. Okay. So, what have we got? We've got... First. I love what they choose to capitalize and not capitalize. First, thug. Second, thug. Third, thug. Okay. 4, 5, 6. 5, 6, 7. All right. Now, let me just confirm. Yeah, exactly. Get in line to fight, thugs. All right. Now, let me just confirm that the fighting works the same way here that it does normally. I believe it does. Let's see. So, you work out your own attack strength, blah, 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 blah. 2, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, so, here we go, guys. So, you've got a skill of 10. So, the way this works, just like standard Fighting Fantasy, the way it works is we're going to roll 2 dice. You're going to add it to the skill score of your character, and then I'm going to roll 2 dice, add it to the skill score of the thugs you're fighting. The one who has the higher skill score ends up doing 2 points of damage to the other. And so here we go. There we go. No, that was my fault, X5. I had the window minimized by accident. So, Trouden, if you would. Yes, some very courteous thugs. I can do it. Let me take this one on, eh? Right? Yeah, exactly, Dunsel. I wouldn't say that it codified Cyberpunk, no. Well, I mean, it certainly didn't codify Cyberpunk overall. Cyberpunk really... There's arguments as to where it first appeared, but the real thing that people think of as being Cyberpunk is William Gibson's Neuromancer. That was the one that really got people thinking about Cyberpunk as such. Although, again, like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep got people thinking about it, stuff like that. Shadowrun was the first game that combined Cyberpunk with fantasy in the same way, for sure. But, yeah, what Dunsel just said. No, you're right. This is 2. You're doing it right. So it's 8 plus 10 is 18. So the first thug needs a 12 to tie and doesn't get it. So they lose 2 stamina. Okay. Next roll, please. Okay. Right, so 9. That'll be a 19. You would need more than that to be able to get that. Does not get it. Drops him down to 4. So you're like, whoop, you're like Bruce Leeing this guy. Like nobody's business. Yeah. The stuff definitely predates Shadowrun. Although Shadowrun, I will say Shadowrun is an older system than people think. Shadowrun really was an 80s creation. Shadowrun for me always feels like it's 90s, but really Shadowrun was more 80s. So it's older than it seems. That said though, Neuromancer is 80. What the heck, when is Neuromancer? It is... Yeah. Neuromancer is 1984. Neuromancer is 84. Wintermute. Okay, 2 + 4 is 6. He gets a 5. That's not going to be enough. He's down to 2 points of stamina, and one last roll would be there. Yeah, one of the things that made Shadowrun unusual is the fact that it combined magic. I mean, it really was D&D plus Cyberpunk, is really what it was, which was weird, and therefore effective in its own way. 14, okay, he needs an 8 to tie. A 9 to beat, he gets a 7, not enough. First thug drops to the ground. Second thug steps forward, snarling, ready to take you on. Now this guy's a little bit more of a challenge. 7 skill as opposed to the 6 skill before. He's also got more stamina. Yeah, Dunsel is going to know more about Shadowrun even than I will, because Dunsel is lives and breathes it. So Dunsel's going to be your guy. Okay, 3 + 4 is 7. He gets an 8, but that's not going to be enough, so you drop him by 2 points again. Thug 2, Swift, that was a kidney punch, I like to assume. What you want? Satara with the kidney punch. Then we've got 3 + 6 is 9, that's a 5, that's not going to be enough, he drops again. You move around him with practiced precision. Two + 4 is 6. All right, now this one's going to be close. So 6, that's 16, and he's got a 10 + 17, so he actually hits you. As you go in, he hits you in the solar plexus. William Gibson hates Shadowrun. He thinks the addition of metahuman race of magic is ridiculous. Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, Gibson is a little bit of a... He's kind of a curmudgeon. You know, he thinks like... He has very specific senses of how these things ought to generally be, so... That doesn't surprise me. And it is definitely... I mean, Shadowrun is its own thing. If you go into it assuming that it's all going to make logical sense... I mean, come on, like dragons running corporations. Like, it doesn't... It's not meant to make sense, really. It's meant to be its own kind of universe that you just kind of roll with. Okay, 8. That's definitely more than his 6.
I don't know if there would be dragons in our world. Why wouldn't they? Why shouldn't they run any companies?
I guess, but you would think that dragons would actually be more interested in doing things that aren't just sort of... I think they would view that as mundane. You know, like why would I deal with human garbage like corporations?
Well, I mean, like the standard mythological thing with dragons is that they really, really like money. And what better way to make money than
to sort of build up credits? That's interesting. That's interesting. Maybe. Shadowrun is so much a better name. Shadowrun is a great name. 2 + 6 is 8. The 7 means that you hit him again. Now the thug is looking in trouble. He's questioning his thug life. It's not... well... It's a little... I'll put it this way, and I say this with all love and respect. I like Shadowrun, actually. Conceptually, I think it's kind of a neat world. But I think Shadowrun's a little goofy. I mean, it literally is orcs and elves and dwarves and everything, but realized in the universe of sort of modern cyberpunky. So it's a little goofy. But I don't say that negatively. I think that Terry and I were talking a lot about the world of Numenera and Torment and Planescape Torment and then just the new Torment. And that's also a world that's bizarre and just kind of a little goofy. But I like that. I think it's consistent within itself, but it's consistent because of how bizarre it is. But there's something a little bit. It's a little goofy. It's like D&D overlaid over cyberpunk, but that's not a bad thing. So.
Well, I would argue that D&D is pretty goofy.
Hey now, careful. Those are fighting words.
Hey. Okay, so I actually have a point with this because, like, the thing is, like, first of all, like, Shadowrun is way more popular here than D&D is.
Interesting.
So that's the thing. Like, the main problem with D&D is that it's so, like, it became so much its own thing, apart from, like, folklore and mythology and stuff like that. Like, when a lot of people think about fantasy stuff, in general, they think of, like, D&D stuff, even though, like, that one developed from Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings developed from, like, European mythology and folklore and stuff. And but at the same time, it's like mixed with like modern, like what's the word, like ideas and like structures and stuff like that.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Right. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, if you compare it to like DSA, which is like the most popular role-playing system here, which is like very, very much based on like the local folklore and stuff like that, and it really shows because D&D can go very, very out there with its concepts, and
it can.
It lacks a certain, what's the word, consistency. It's like especially Forgotten Realms.
Oh yeah.
Like this huge pool of concept and ideas all thrown into one giant system, world, whatever.
Yes. I agree with that. I mean, that's sort of like having, and by the way, thank you for the follow, Sarah. And you guys are on to the third thug now, incidentally, as you guys are fighting. I like to think that you're actually having this discussion with Lopsy as you're beating up his thugs. You're just like, you know what I would argue is, so the thing about that is 12. Wow. Okay. Fortunately, that 9 that you got was necessary, so he really tries to give it his all, this third thug. Oh, actually, no, he has more than that, 19, 20. Yeah, so he does hit you, this third thug. I forgot that he has a higher skill. So, yeah, no, you're doing fine, Trouden. Another roll when you get a chance. So, first of all, D&D is much more popular in the States than Shadowrun is. Shadowrun is popular, but it doesn't have the same level of interest that Dungeons & Dragons does. I agree with you totally that D&D in general as a universe is a hodgepodge. If you look at deities and demigods, for example, it's just throw everything together. Like Zeus hanging out with Thor. Like, I mean, it's all a bunch of stuff all put together. So I definitely agree with that. And partly that's because of what the system was originally designed to do and then what it was added to. Great writing will compensate for that. You know, great writing will sort of compensate for anything, really. I think the thing about Shadowrun is that if Shadowrun had gone about it and come up with different names for orcs and come up with different creatures and not literally made them look like orcs except they're wearing leather vests and mirror shades instead of, you know, leather tunics and carrying short swords, you know, I think that might have also had an effect on it, but it felt very much like we want D&D, but we want to do it in a modern world, in a near future dystopia with computers, you know, and where there's hacking. So again, in no way am I opposed to that, because I think that Shadowrun actually is held together fairly well, but I would not say that it's a universe that seems organically to rise out of something else where you're like, okay, this led to this, led to this. It's just literally what happens if we woke up one day and all of a sudden it was D&D. You know, and so that's, well, I mean, that's a little bit different.
Based on that premise, I think everything is fairly logical. Like, especially all like the political law stuff. I mean, I only know the stuff that's like literally set where I live.
Right.
Like all the stuff surrounding Cologne and Düsseldorf and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, no. If there were orcs, that would happen here.
I guess, but
perfectly logical.
I guess, but I think that like part of that. I guess so, but I still think that part of that is good writing and good sort of local writing compensating for what is otherwise a kind of strange system. I mean, it feels a little bit like wish fulfillment, like fantasy. You just like a fantasy that someone has, like they wake up and they're like, you know what would be awesome is if there were orcs, but in our schools, and you know, like that kind of thing, as opposed to it. I did get that. I did. Oh, you did 2 rolls. I'm sorry. I think I just got the 1 roll. Okay, so I got the last roll. Okay, now we're caught up. You guys are wrecking this thing. So, Yeah. That's definitely fair. Yeah, I don't in any way want to say that the system is like, it's not fan fiction, right? I would not say that. It's not fan fiction where it just feels like tacked on and like, okay, well, what if this person were this person that didn't, I mean, like, I so totally agree with that. But I do think that it's viewed by a lot of people as having kind of a lack of general seriousness to it, which is one of the reasons why it doesn't have, it's more niche. There's nothing wrong here anyway. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as Terry has pointed out, that also depends on where you are. It's a lot less niche, apparently, in Germany, and D&D becomes more of a niche thing. But here, definitely, D&D is prominent over what Shadowrun would be. Oh, man! Cloud, he heard you say die, goon, and he comes up with his big 12. He shoves aside your clumsy attack, knees you in the face. He's like, Shadowrun makes total sense!
I don't know how the lore for Shadowrun works in the US, but the German writers just went all out there. Like, they incorporated like real politicians. Like, there's this one politician they worked into the story, but he kind of died like years before his part in the story. So there is this odd like plot hole, I guess, but it's like very well put together and like how much thought they put into it.
You got hit again, unfortunately, guys. This guy is really putting up a fight. Yes, agreed, Mirinda. D&D has its own problems, but that's because of the length of time that it's been around. And I agree with that fully fleshed out world history, but if you give anything enough time, as I said, as you know, Dunsel, it's been around since the 80s. Give it enough time and you can flesh out anything, right? So thank you for the follow, Jolly John. Welcome to the Arbonauts. So, you know, and I certainly agree with that. And again, I am in no way, I'm trying to be very careful in how I go about this, because I'm not making an argument that I have a problem with the system. I like Shadowrun. I think Shadowrun is an interesting system, and I think it's an interesting world. I'm not saying it's sloppy. I'm just saying that it's a little bit goofy. I would say the same thing for Numenera. You know, Numenera is a little weird. And it's not, there are a lot of people who are like, I want my swords and my sorcery, and I want my magic, and I want my wizard towers. And what is this thing about there's a crashed spaceship, and inside the spaceship is like some biological ooze that is holding up a girl's doll, which is actually a link to another plane. I mean, like, that's Numenera, right? Like, that's just bizarre on top of bizarre. And so a lot of people don't know what to make of Numenera, and I think that's fine. So, we greatly underestimated Thug 3. I'm sorry, Goon 3, I was just being cute. Alright, this time you take down Thug 3. Alright, and the last one drops in front of you. Man. He was a highly skilled thug. He was not a free thug. He was 3 thug. The 3 gang members are tough street fighters, and you are shattered. Lopsty realizes that the diner's craft park is not a safe place to hang around. He kicks one of his gang and tells him to put you onto the back of a rocket bike. You get on and wait for another member of the gang to smash a food cube dispenser and steal the contents before you all roar off in a stink of rocket fuel. Well, crap. The bikes have an extremely short range, and after half a gravity hour, they head off for a large flashing star sign that indicates a fuel station. The attendant service android beams a manufactured smile at the gang as they fight over the food cubes. Lopsty and your guard intervene. The android fills the bike you were on first, and you notice that the anti-theft device has not been set. Do you start the rocket bike and go, or wait for a better opportunity? Satara will take them down hard. She ain't a girl who backs down easy. No, apparently. So, start the rocket bike and go, or wait for a better opportunity? What's it gonna be? No, Rapscallion, because the attendant just filled the bike you were on. So your bike is now full. All right, some people here want to steal. I see some people who want some Grand Theft Auto going on. That's what's going on here. I see some people who want to steal this rocket bar. Burn, baby, burn. Yeah, chat is pretty definitive on what they want here. You drive safe, no tickets. As a rogue tracer, you sort of laugh in the face of traffic laws. It's like that scene in the Star Trek reboot movie, the first one, where Kirk is driving as a kid in the car to the Beastie Boys music. That I can't stand it. I know you planned it. It's pretty much exactly like that. Where are you going, citizen? Okay, so start the rocket bike and go.
See? We should have gone with Lobo.
Exactly. Sabotage! Exactly, X5. You should traffic lights are mere suggestions. You take a risk. You press the starter and pump at the pedal. Test your luck. Alright, so you got to test your luck, Trouden. So for this one, we're looking for a 9 or less. So we're going to roll 2 dice, and you're looking for a 9 or less to see if we're lucky. So you try to get this bike started. All right, so you are indeed lucky. Remember, when you test your luck, you always lose a point of luck, whether you're lucky or not. But you were lucky, and so the bike starts and you were in the air. Your chronograph shows that you have 25 seconds before your pursuers begin the chase. You realize that you don't know the country and that rocket bikes have a very limited range. You look around you. To the left are intimidating large brown mountains. To the right is a forested, carpeted valley. Deduct 2 time units. Will you head left towards the intimidating mountains or right towards the forest? The forested valley, I should say. Why do we know that before we stole the damn bike? This vehicle is terrible. Well, we actually said that when they were pulling in, that it had a very limited range. All right. We have some votes for Forested Valley starting to come in. A lot of votes for the Forested Valley. Many votes for the Forested Valley. All right. I'm going to last call this because I think when I see chat clearly moving in a particular direction. At least its price is right. Exactly. The vehicle's terrible, but it comes to you at the low, low price of free. I feel manipulated by the word intimidating. Yeah. Well, it's my obligation to describe to you what it is that you're seeing, so... I follow my own dice. Alright. And I think we're going to close that poll. Okay, right to the Forested Valley. Alright. Here we go. You bank right and slow down as you approach a forest. The trees are tall and thin. You weave in between them, it's like the forest in Endor, until the fuel gauge flashes that your tank is almost empty. You stop at a road. There is no sound of pursuit. Thank you for the follow, Mad Archangel 95. Welcome to the Argonauts. You hide the bike and stand on the road. Will you go left or right? I should actually give you guys a save point here. Although, of course, this is all on the premise that you guys get into a fight with Lobster in the first place. So... there we go. Left or right? You have a D6 dice you use on you help decisions. I usually use it for Magic the Gathering. Really, Kilobyte? This is what happens when random people chat with you on Steam. The conversations are always bizarre. Were the conversations about Shadowrun? Hey-oh! Just kidding. It's a callback. Sorry. Exactly, Nilly. That's what I was thinking about, was the Ewok village. You know, I have to say, by the way, that the generalized hate that people have after the fact for the Ewoks is not something I experienced at the time. In fact, at the time, if you had asked me, I would have said that the best of the original trilogy was probably Return of the Jedi, and then Star Wars second, and then Empire third. I liked Empire last, and then as I got older, I saw why Empire was, in my opinion, a better movie. But I always liked the Ewoks, and I always thought, a lot of people were like, oh, it was the beginning of the end, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know, I kind of liked it at the time.
I always loved the Ewoks.
I think a lot of people just thought it was, that was when it was getting all silly and kid-like and all that. And I don't know, I mean... yeah,
but, I mean, wasn't Star Wars always meant to be, like, for everyone?
Exactly. Like... it was never meant to be this super serious, like, you know... if you wanted super serious and boring, just watch Space Odyssey. I mean, if you... one of the dullest science fiction movies of all time. Hey, Don King, welcome to the Argonauts. The Two Towers are the best Star Wars film. Will you stop? The Ewoks are impractical and plot-wise implausible. Really fun, right? Yeah. You know, my wife was really upset with the whole, when they changed the music in the special edition, they changed it from the yub yub da 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 da. They changed it to something else, and my wife was really upset. She's like, "What the hell is that? Where is the Ewok music?" It was funny. So this person is telling you they're an alien being hunted by the CIA. Well, it's interesting that they're using Steam to communicate that. I can think of other more plausible platforms of communication than Steam. Alright, so we got 3 for left, 1 for right. We got a question for you in chat, Terry.
Oh, see?
X5 asks, what Star Wars film is your favorite?
Like, honestly, I always watch them all back to back, so it's usually, like, one big movie. Like, I can't really take, like, the original trilogy apart. It's easier to ask me which my least favorite is.
Okay.
than which my favorite is.
So
because I kind of see, like, the episode 4, 5, 6 as, like, one big movie. Because I think they don't really work without each other. It's like asking what's... yeah, well, actually, no, never mind. I was about to say it's like asking which my favorite Lord of the Rings movie is, because it's like one large story. But no, actually, I do have a favorite Lord of the Rings movie.
Is it Fellowship?
So... no, it's the Two Towers, actually.
Oh, Two Towers, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, so what's your least favorite Star Wars, then? And we need a couple more votes on this, guys, by the way.
Episode 2, by far.
Is your least favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, episode 2. Oh, wait a minute. Out of the 9 you're talking about now, right? Yeah, okay. Yes, that's hot garbage. I agree with you. I mean, first of all, the villain is Count Dooku. I don't think we need to do anything else other than just say that his name is Count Dooku. Plus, Yoda looks like a goddamn Super Ball. What the hell is that? Remember when he fights him with a lightsaber? First of all, I don't think every person in the world needs to have a lightsaber. Secondly, he literally is just bouncing around the room looking like a Jedi Super Ball as he's fighting Dooku. It's the stupidest looking thing.
That's actually the one scene I like about Super
Well, I mean, because lightsabers are cool, I guess, but what a
also, it's like
stupid
cool
plot.
that they give like an action scene to 2 old men. Like, how often do you see that? Like,
yeah.
usually the only people who have action scenes are like young people, and it's kind of cool to see like old people kicking some ass.
Occasionally, you see, like, I guess in the X-Men, you got Magneto and Professor X with, you know, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen doing that. But
I don't like the X-Men movies.
Really? Oh wow.
No, I think they are totally boring.
Interesting.
Except for First Class, that one was good.
Yes.
And I have not seen Logan yet. So.
Okay,
and
yeah, Logan I've
Deadpool
heard good things about.
Counts officially, which is awesome, but yeah.
The first one, I loved the first X-Men movie. I liked a lot. Oh, wait a second. sounded really... I just heard a very loud crash. Now I'm waiting to hear if they're screaming. Okay, no, there isn't. We're safe.
Okay.
But Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is your favorite? Really? I actually do know someone who agrees with that, X5, but Episode 1... So here's the thing for me. Episode 1, to me, is a complete missed opportunity all the way through. You have Liam Neeson. Qui-Gon, I think, is an interesting character because he's played by Liam Neeson, and then we kill him off. You've got Darth Maul, who could have been very imposing, and then you kill him off. You've got Jar Jar Binks, who's incredibly irritating and is not at all like the fun Chewbacca whatever. Like I don't know what made them think these things are the same things. The whole movie is borderline racist on top of everything else, with the Trade Federation sounding like vaguely, slightly altered Chinese accents. And then, you know, not to mention Jar Jar being apparently from the Caribbean somewhere with the Misa this and Misa that. And then the last part is the lightsaber battle at the end is arguably the best lightsaber battle in any of the Star Wars. It's phenomenal. And we keep interrupting it with goddamn Anakin Skywalker, who is terribly directed. It wastes Natalie Portman, who's a good actress too. It's just wasted opportunity after wasted opportunity to me. So I come at the end of it and I'm just like, God, like, so disappointing. 2 to me is just a hot mess all the way through, and there's nothing redeemable about 2. Whereas 1,
like the most unbelievable
you know, so.
love story ever. Like, I don't mind love stories, but please, at least have
but don't you like, you don't like sand?
chemistry.
You don't like sand? It gets everywhere and it hurts.
Yeah, totally. Such a great line.
Oh, God. What is this now? They keep retconning Star Wars. They keep discussing it in Rage. Yeah, I agree with that, Dunsel. I agree. I agree with that. Okay, so we are going to go with go left instead of right. Oh, so it's actually it's not a theory, so it's actually happening. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It makes sense. Let's see. No, I think that's, I mean, to me, I've seen both of them. Episode 3's lightsaber battle is okay, but Episode 1 is beautifully choreographed, the lightsaber battle. First of all, it's done in an epically awesome environment. It's got that environment with all the energy bridges and everything. It's got Ray Park, who's the guy who actually trained people to do the lightsaber fights, battling against Neeson and Ewan McGregor, who are both good actors. It's got them, there's the part where they've got the closing, I don't know what the hell those things are, but there's the energy walls where basically Qui-Gon and to get separated.
Awesome
it's
scene.
really good choreography. I love that battle. I just wanted it to stop. Like, I wanted everything else to stop. I didn't want to go to the other stuff I didn't care about. I'm like, I don't care about what happens to the Gungans. Please kill the Gungans. Go back to the awesome lightsaber battle. So, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And Ray Park is Toad on X-Men. Why won't you die? Yeah, exactly. I know. Okay, so we're going to go left. Which is 103. After walking for many gravity hours in the thick forest, you arrive at a fork in the road. Do you turn left or right? I support genocide, confirmed. No, I just support not caring about the Gungans. That's all. I know. It's the exact same question, but in a different spot, Cloud. What's up, Wolfina? I don't support genocide, but I might support Gungancide. I mean, let's be clear here. Seriously, even the people in the movie, even the directors realized that Jar Jar was a hopeless mess, which is why he goes from being in your face constantly in episode 1 to vanishing almost entirely in 2. They're like, how can we diminish Jar Jar and make him practically nothing? You know, because they realized how astonishingly dumb as a character he actually was. Not to mention the green screen direction was terrible. Like how many times they're supposedly talking to Jar Jar by staring over his head because they obviously didn't mark the green screen properly. I just, ugh. Yeah, no problem, Wolfie, and I get it, man. No problem. So, let's spiral around and around until we get to the center.
I think episode 3 was actually pretty okay. I liked it as a teenager back when it came out.
Yep. Episode 3 was not bad, and I think Episode 3 is an example of something the movies, you could have basically, if you had made that the movie, like the sequence, I think you could have made that a much more interesting, like, set of movies than having 3 movies which were basically leading up to what was the best movie of the 3. And I don't love it, but I think it's functional, you know? And part of the reason I don't love it is because it's compressed. But even there, though, the best scenes in that movie get taken out. You're like, and then he's like, then he slaughters the younglings. Not that we're going to see that. Then he slaughters the Tusken Raiders because of what they did to his mom. Not that we're going to see that. I'm like, what? Why would you cut out at that point? Like, that's the part where it matters.
Well,
that's the emotional component that matters.
I mean, I know why they cut out the part where the younglings get murdered.
Because it's too brutal?
Well, it's kids getting murdered.
I know that, but if you want, I know, but if you want to have, well, okay, but you don't actually have to show the physical act of them being killed. But if you want to, you could even just show, you could hear some screams and then see his face. And that would be it. You don't even have to do a lot of it, but to cut out of it completely means that in my opinion, you don't feel connected to the turning that's happening in him. You don't see the level that he's willing to push of his own anger and darkness. And especially the Tusken Raiders. That one's unforgivable. The younglings, maybe I could see because of it's being kids. Not the Tusken Raiders. You've got to see that moment where he flips over, in my view, to the side where he really enters that world of darkness. So, you've seen Logan at the cinema twice, and I utterly loved it. Yeah. See, the only problem with Logan is I know a little bit about the plot, and it's too dark for me, I think. But Aini on the Dropbox knee. Oh, I see that it's being added. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you so much. Can we get some love for Dragon? Can we get some Arv Quills and So Goods and some stuff like that? I need to get an Arv Love something made. But can we do that for Dragon? Because Dragon Spear has done these illustrations like from the books and taken time out of his busy schedule. So thank you, Dragon, so much. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes, well done. Okay, I think I'm done with our heroine.
Look at that. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's awesome. I love it. Satara Shadow Space. Badass hero.
God among men? Wait, we already had that one.
Another god among men.
God among aliens.
God among aliens. Okay. So it looks like we've decided to turn right. So you guys went left, now you're going right. All right. As you walk along, you stumble over a block of stone. Noticing some writing carved on it, you brush away the grass to reveal the legend Madrid 180 kilometers, with an arrow pointing in the direction you've just come from. You set off back along the road. Deduct 4 time units. Oh man. The time! Okay, we've lost 4 time units there. Alright. You walk for a long time along the road, which is often overgrown. You were getting tired, hungry, and thirsty. Reduce your stamina by 1 point. Just then, you see a battered zip car at the side of the road with its hood up. There seems to be no one around, and you approach carefully. Suddenly, someone leaps out of the bushes, and you see this. And I'm going to move away from Terry's artwork for just a second to show you the internal artwork, which is not Crypt of the Sorcerer, but is in fact this. Okay. Oh, it's still downloading. You see something that will be visible to you in any moment now. Soon. There. So I'm going to go back to her artwork, and then I'll show you exactly what you saw when it uploads. Good times. Okay. Yeah, super good, that illustration. Okay, you spin around just in time to see the Lurgan who is rushing at you hurl a large rock. Test your luck. Alright, we have to see whether or not you will be lucky, because he's tossed a rock at you. So, Trouden, again, we're going to need to have you test your luck. This time your target is 8, because we have 1 point less than we had before. You see a wild download traversing a Cat 6 cable. What do you do? Exactly. What do you do? What do you do? There it is. We got it now. All right. I can show you what you see as you're preparing to test your luck. Now it's in there. Thanks again, Dragon. Not Crypt of the Sorcerer. Star Strider. There we go. There we go. That's what you see. 2 + 1 = 3. All right, you are decidedly lucky. Your luck is down to 7, but you are decidedly lucky. All right, so he's missed you. You have no time to set the catchman, so you have to fight unarmed. This catchman, by the way, strikes me as one of the most useless weapons ever. It has a, like, 33% failure rate, and you have to set it beforehand? Like, wouldn't you just automatically set it? Anyway, so you have to fight unarmed. Beware, Lurgans are famed for their dirty fighting. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. So he is a Lurgan. And he has a skill of 9 and a stamina of 10. So you do have the advantage on him, but will not be an automatic fight. So, Trouden, I need you to roll 2 dice, please. He's a Logan, yeah. Dude, if I ever saw Logan in, you know, somehow in real life actually running towards me, I just kneel down and be like, please don't kill me. Like, there's no battling that dude. All right. 5 + 6 is 11. He has a 2. So you start out real strong. You just slam him in the side of the head. All right. I like how this music feels that we're listening to right now. It feels like this guy running down the road. He's like, why are you doing this? I'm a Lurgan. Okay, he gets a 5, so that hits him again. So now he's down to 6 points of stamina as you are smacking him. He was just on the way to pick up some milk. No, 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 no. He jumped out of the bushes and threw a rock at us. That is not a case where we just randomly attack this dude. We're walking along, having a nice nature walk in the middle of a forest after stealing someone's rocket bike. He doesn't need to know any of that. 6, he gets a 3. All right. You know, and this is the situation we find ourselves in. I throw rocks at people too. I don't want to fight them. You're just randomly walking by someone and you're like, I'm going to pick up some milk, but first this rock. Interesting. We have different approaches, I think, Cloud, to the way we conduct our social interactions. Okay, 9 versus 5. So you hit him. He looks to be in rough shape. He's kind of like, My logic is extremely flawed on this matter. I see. I see. A 3. He gets an 8. Ah, that time the Lurgan hits you. The Lurgan hits you when you get the logical problem. It was the moment where you said that Satara has flawed logic, that she had problems. So you just keep that in mind, Cloud. You keep in mind who's responsible for her losing her focus in combat. She's like, maybe I am not very logical. Who? You don't realize, Cloud, every time you speak up, they hear you. I'll shoulder this burden. You'd feel bad if you didn't give him 1 hit. All right, a 5, and down goes the Lurgan. So you have defeated the deadly Lurgan, although you're down to 13 stamina. All right, and so you win and head for the zip car. You check the motor and the fuel levels. Thank you for the host, UFC. I appreciate it. That's either UFC hosting me or it's Destructoid. I think it's UFC. Thanks for the host, UFC. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, sir. You check the motor and fuel levels, close the hood, and open the plexiglass cockpit cover. You see that the zip car is full of hot, bubbling mud. As you peer closer, 4 hands reach out of the mud towards you. At the edge of each finger is a bloody claw. Test your fear factor. Okay, so for this one, Trouden, you got to roll 2 dice and roll 10 or less. They've got to compare our fear factor. Yeah, we do need a food cube. You'd think you would have brought along some food cubes, right, Trouden? You'd think that would be part of your standard equipment. All right, let's jump back to our artwork here. Ah, he's now going in the other direction. It sure is a disturbing image. This is awkward. Oh, you're going to tell me you're afraid. Oh no, he rolled a double 6. Fear. Okay. Reduce your stamina by 1 point. Deduct 2 time units. Doop. The gory scene has made you feel ill. What do you do next? Will you walk away from the car and continue on foot? Or will you doubt what you see and wade into the mess? We sat there shivering for 2 hours. No, this is the 2 hours that it took you to get there. They didn't classify all the time units before. I doubt everything. Lick index finger on hand number 3. Oh, Cloud, that's funny. So remember, by the way, for people who are just coming in, remember that the Grom, and I haven't seen what the next entry is, but remember that they are masters of illusion. So that's how they basically maintain their authority over people, is their ability to create illusions. So keep in mind that this may be that. It may also be someone who's trying to get you to sit in a car that's got a ton of hot, scalding mud in it. But I'm just letting you know that that is possible. In other words, it's not randomly, I just doubt what I see on a regular basis. This is a universe where that might be more logical. Just letting you know. Thank you so much for the follow, Ibrahim Wolf. Welcome to the Arvanauts. And I should say to anyone who's new to the stream, if you guys like what you see in here, welcome. My name is Arvan Eleron. I play all sorts of different games, but I tend to focus on a lot of role-playing games, a lot of D&D, and these fighting fantasy game book games as well. I am joined, as usual, doing these things by TariToons, who's doing live illustrations of the books, and Chad is making the decisions here. But I also have a lot of other streams that I do during the course of the month. If you like what you see in here, please make sure to follow the stream. Please subscribe to the channel. That purple button underneath will let you do that. Please support the Patreon. You can get some cool stuff out of that. It helps the channel as well if you're able to do that. And check out the Steam group, the Discord, the YouTube, and all that kind of good stuff if you're interested. And thank you guys. If you like that Get Hyped emote, you can do it if you're subbed. I also feel like doubting what you're seeing is a very... I don't know, don't you think doubting what you're seeing, like illusion, would be a very sort of a Shadowrun-y thing to do also? I feel like there's a level of sort of question everything about Shadowrun as well. You should sub and support the Patreon. Well, I mean, obviously if you can do both, because they don't overlap. There are different things you can get from each one. But, yes, some people do indeed do that, which is wonderful if they're able to do that, but I don't want to bankrupt anybody, but... helping any way you can is certainly helpful, because I am, you know, I'm able to help do things like pay artists and people like that are working here, so. Ah, that was the end of the No Man's Sky soundtrack. All right, let's go with...
Smart relief from Icy Hot starts blocking.
Never mind with that. This is just another ad. Nobody cares about that. Here we go. Good. All right. All right. We're going to close the poll on this. There we go. Yeah, for sure. All your senses say no, but you step into the cockpit and the hands grab for your legs. You feel nothing. You sit down where the seat should be and a hand wraps itself around your throat from behind. You slip your hands into the bubbling mud and guess at the location of the rocket starter. The rocket screams and the mud becomes transparent and fades. You look behind you and on the back seat is a piece of Gromulan technology. Part of an illusoscope is wired up to the Zip's shield and was obviously used by the Lurgan to protect his craft. Ha! was all lies. You set the craft on the route to Madrid. Do you proceed with caution, keeping visuals from horizon to horizon, or will you get some much-needed sleep while the craft is on autopilot? Do I have an experience with creative writing classes, formal community college classes, general after art group lessons? Are they useful or any good? Well, I teach such a course, so I think they're good. Yes, I do have some experience with it. So there you go, guys. Keep awake and watch the horizon, or get some sleep and put car on autopilot. Nothing bad comes from sleeping on an enemy ship. And our stamina right now is 12 out of 24, yes. So we got some stamina issues for sure. Thank God she was built like a tank. As always, what Boss says is true. Most classes offer you as much as you give into them. That's somewhat true, but I would disagree only in this respect. I think the instructor's qualifications are critical. There are a lot of people who teach creative writing classes that have never been published professionally. I don't understand why they're teaching classes. I don't get it. Like, if you can't get published yourself, how is it you're supposed to teach anyone else to do the same thing? And yes, creative writing is not just about publication, it's about writing something to express yourself and so forth. But the point is, many people claim to be creative writers and really don't know the first thing about what they're doing. They haven't worked at their craft. Just writing a lot is not the same thing as working on one's craft. And so, for me, fundamentally important are learning from people who know the business. Like, if you wanted to learn how to work on a car, you wouldn't go to someone who's never worked on a car but stayed at a Holiday Inn Express the night before. You know what I mean? You would go to someone, thank you for the follow, Stembo, so welcome to the Argonauts. You would go to someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing and they've worked on a car. If you were learning in medical school, you damn well sure better be learning from people who are actual medical doctors and who have taught, you know, or pharmacists, people who are experts in pharmacology. You don't want to be learning from people that don't know what they're doing. So, credentials are important. Assuming they have the credentials. And being a good writer does not guarantee you can teach, by the way. But to me, that's step one. You have to have been published to be able to teach this stuff. And then second, are you good at what you do? And that you usually can't tell unless just by word of mouth, looking at, online sites. Sometimes rate the professors or the teachers. Sometimes you can get an idea just from the first class about whether they're going to be good in terms of what they instruct you in. So I do think it's useful. I do think it's valuable also because it gives you time and space and context to write. So you can sit into a class and you can actually be writing because you've been given an assignment to write. And that sometimes makes it easier than just, well, write when you get a chance. Because oftentimes you'll find that you just don't have a chance because you're busy doing things unless you carve out time to actually do it. Right, boss. And that's the thing. Like, those who can't do teach. Like, I know you're joking. Like, that's one of the most incorrect statements ever made, right? Like, those who can do are the ones who should be teaching, in fact. Now, there are people who can't do it as much anymore, but there's still people who ought to be teaching. And I would say, I mean, I don't know whether, Terry, whether you'd agree with me on the art side of things, but I feel like if someone's going to teach a class in art, they ought to be a good artist, right? Like, I would assume.
Be, most art teachers I've had so far are not good artists.
But they should be, though, right? I mean,
they should be, yeah, really. The last art teacher I had, she was a photographer, and she was teaching art for some reason. Like, I know that like a lot of like themes like overlap for both of these, like composition and stuff like that. And but yeah, she couldn't draw for shit. So, pardon my French, but yeah. And also, though, I did notice that a lot of like art teachers at like regular schools, like high schools, effectively high schools. We don't have high schools here.
Okay.
They tend to do like stuff like expressionism and stuff like that a lot.
Okay.
At least the teachers I had so far.
So it depends on the nature of the teacher. I mean, like, I think Edwin Moses Malone. Moses Malone would be a badass teacher too. Can you imagine? Moses Malone would be like, you rebound the ball this way. Yeah, I think you're right about being able to transmit something simply. The key is to be able to, and I'm going to give last call on this. The key is to be able to transmit something in the way that will work for a large number of students. And by that, I don't mean one method and then you ignore your students. By that, I mean you try to figure out what will work for different students. Now, that's not always completely possible. There are times when there are students that you can't reach. That's very hard, by the way, for any teacher to deal with. Every teacher who gets started will tell you that they think they can teach anybody, and you can't. There are some students that you can't reach, but you can get to most of them, and you can have an impact on most of them. Some of them you'll move a little bit. You'll impact them a little bit. Some of them you'll impact a good amount, and some of them you'll change their lives. And that's not hyperbole. I've had multiple students tell me this. It's really being able to meet the students where they are and being able to understand what will work with them. And that's an individual thing. Coaching is sort of similar in that basis. So yeah. And I teach formal classes. Yeah, I teach a formal course in creative writing in the spring. And I also do workshops at various conventions. In fact, if you guys go to something like Gen Con or Origins or some of those places, also CanCon, I should point out, I'm going to be at in Canada, in Ottawa in September, or either September or October, I don't remember, but that has a workshop, and you can actually submit some of your writing and get some one-on-one stuff done with professional authors. So I do workshops like that a fair bit. And so, yeah. But,
workshops are great.
Yeah, workshops can be really useful. Yeah. Have you ever taught one on your side, Terry, where you've helped other?
No, I haven't. I was asked before, but I was like, no, I have zero experience teaching anything, so. But yeah, I have visited quite a few workshops, like especially at conventions. Like the best one I've been to was, oh, don't let me lie, like 4 years ago or so at the comic festival in Munich, where one of the Disney comic artists taught a workshop for like Donald Duck comics.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was really great. It was, oh my god, I learned so much while I was there. It was like mainly aimed at children. Mm-hmm. I think there were like 5 adults or so in the class and like 13 children. But it like he very much went into the very basics, like expression and posing and stuff like that. Because a lot of like if you look at a lot of like comic teaching books, they all focus on like how do I make my picture look cool, instead of teaching you what you actually need to know. Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's a good point actually, because technique really matters. And because you're not just doing it for this picture, you're doing it for, at least in writing, you're doing it for every story you're going to write, right? Like good technique works for everything. So it's the big
basics are always like super important. And yeah, that's why like especially when I started to draw a lot of like My Little Pony fan art, I made so much progress during that time, because the pony characters, they lack details. Basically, they have no hands, they have no feet, stuff like that. And I really learned how to properly pose my characters to make every picture look different. And,
interesting.
Draw good expressions. So if somebody wants to draw cartoons, it's like really important to start with like really simple designs. Like at best, just draw stick figures for a year, basically. And try to make them as good as you possibly can.
I agree with that. You definitely want to learn to crawl before you can walk. And I find some people are like, I really want to start with my magnum opus, a novel of 500,000 words. I'm like, dude, like, how about a short story first? Yeah. Like, you know? But Marinda asks, do you have advice about how to learn basic drawing, get a book and play around, or what? Like,
what I did basically is, I draw like, I've always drawn like OCs of mine, like forever. That's how I started. That's what I'm still doing. So I mainly do like character design and stuff, I guess. Like I can't, wait, there's one book I can absolutely recommend, but it's kind of hard to track down. It's, oh god, what it's called? I think it's called Hitapi by Akira Toriyama, the guy who did Dragon Ball.
It's called like, Hitapi?
Yeah, I think so. It has a different name in every language, but in German it's like literally called the manga drawing workshop or something. And I can very much recommend. It's like the best book I ever read about like that tries to teach art, because it really goes into like how do you start out, like the best thing to do is like to first draw from photographs. Okay. And then go like reduce as many to as few details as you can, and then deviate from there. So yeah, like basically look at photos and reality and try to cartoonify that. I think that works well.
Okay. So yeah, Miranda, that's because I couldn't figure out the name and everything. So I just said, look for the book by the Dragon Ball Z guy. So the guy who draws Dragon Ball.
Yeah, Akira Toriyama.
Okay. Do you know how to spell Akira? I mean, I could Google it too. All right, she's gonna look. There it is, Akira Toriyama. So look for that book. That's really helpful. Yeah, exactly, Big Boss. I really want to start my swimming career with Swimming the English Channel. Nope, too easy. Throw in some sharks in it first. By the way, Mirinda, I wanted to say that definitely. I don't mean to mislead you. Yes, after hours stuff, casual stuff is definitely useful. No question about it. The only thing I would say is that the most helpful thing is to have someone who knows what they're doing leading it. That's all. Because sometimes you hear things and people are like, oh yeah, I'm in a writer's group. And you're like, oh, that's great. Who's in the writer's group? And you find out that everybody in the writer's group is also unpublished like you. And that doesn't really help you get any better, right? Like they can give you feedback and they can give you suggestions, but they're giving you feedback and suggestions based on what might work for them as readers, not necessarily what works for them as people who have actually gotten anything published, right? So that's why, you know, knowing who's involved in that group can be helpful. But you don't need to be able to do it at a university or even a community college. Or I mean, there's no need for that. There's workshops and classes in many places. In New York City, there's a thing called Gotham Writers Workshop that has multiple classes and, you know, ability levels and things like that. And the other thing I would say too is to go back to what Boss said. And I know that I'll move on back to the book in just a second, guys. We only have a few minutes left, but you know, this is interesting stuff. So we got about 15 minutes or so. But the other thing I wanted to say, maybe the others are more unpublished than you. Well, that's right, Boss. Here's the thing about that, and I've used this example before, and I'll be interested to see if Terry experienced this on the art side. Hello, Shining Zeege. Thanks for being an Arvanaut. Welcome. So I ran into someone online in the Twitch section that was doing creative writing, in the creative writing section. I sometimes stream under that category. And so they were doing writing stuff. And their writing, they had this whole big page set up about, here's my Patreon, and if you support my Patreon, then I'll give you writing critiques, and here's my writing critique project. Here's this whole like WordPress like web page that I've set up to sort of show you method. I'm like, wow, okay, wow, this person's really like organized and everything else. This person has published not a thing, not one thing. And I'm like, why exactly are you putting out a shingle, English meaning, you know, put out, basically tell people that you're whatever you are, if you haven't written enough to get published yourself yet? And I'm talking not even self-published. They did nothing. Like they've just like, oh, I've done little vignettes and I've done this and that, you know, and so I'm like, the talk about putting the cart before the horse, like that's you're talking about like becoming Bruce Lee before you've learned to crawl. I mean, like you cannot possibly be able to tell anyone else, give suggestions about methods of writing and critiques of writing without way more training and at the very least experience. Like, why are you setting up a Patreon and all these other stuff? I mean, like, what? And there's too much of that, I think, on the internet. See you, Cloud. Always a pleasure. Good to see you, man. Always a pleasure to have you on, sir. But, like, it's just bizarre to me. Like, I don't understand what makes people think that just because they have access to the internet that they therefore can be experts and, you know, tell people what there is on the internet. This is crazy to me. And, you know, the person didn't have a lot of followers and didn't have a lot of people as viewers, but they were very big on, oh, definitely support my Patreon. I'm like, why? You don't have any credentials. So, yeah, he's seeing the dollar signs, but that's the thing. It was, yeah, this particular person was a she, but yeah, she was seeing the dollar signs, but here's the other thing. She's never going to reach those dollar signs because she's not working on her craft. She's like putting out all this stuff before she's done any foundational work underneath it. So I don't know if you ever run into that, Terry, at like cons or anything where you run into people that are like, oh, here's all the ways to buy my art. And you're like, really, you should work on your art first and be a better artist. I don't know if you run into that or not.
Kind of the opposite. Like most artists have like real self-worth issues, basically. Like a lot of artists like are very self-deprecating. Is that the word? Like I myself, for example, like until like a few years ago, I refused to call myself an artist because I was like, I'm not doing art. I'm just messing around, basically.
Yeah. So
that's the thing.
Chat, you're looking at this picture. Do you think Terry is doing art? Do you think she's doing art? I'm just gonna wait for the delay. And I had better see a whole wall of people saying that TariToons is doing art, or there's going to be massive banning going on. So I better see every one of you talking about the art that gets done. You're right about that, though. It is true that artists do downplay their art a lot.
So let me see what people are saying.
Yeah.
You don't count. It doesn't count when he says my stuff is great.
Stunning, Cloud King, yep. I'm so jelly. TariToons awesome sauce. Elias with the troll of nice doodle.
Thank you, guys.
But ban threat, of course she is. No ban. I'm joking about the ban. No, but I mean the point being that and I know that everybody that's on, including my voice actors, do this. They're always like, stop. I don't mean to over compliment, but I do think. One of the reasons that I really enjoy doing this is I really think Tari is highly talented, and I think is able to bring something through her work that is there also. My friend Matt, also known as Chrono Wolf, that has done music and stuff like that, is a wonderful artist, a wonderful musician. Trendane, George Ledoux, BB Wolf, Rob, Russ, these are wonderful voice actors. This is not just me blowing smoke and being like, oh, check out how awesome they are, even though they're not really. These are people that I really admire their work. So, so I think that's interesting, though, because you're right. I think you're right that artists do have a tendency to undersell, but writers, and I don't know if it's because writers tend to be very insecure, so they kind of oversell to compensate, but it feels to me like there are a lot of writers who claim they're writers way before they're actually writers. There are certainly people who don't do that as well, but writers seem to be more kind of, they have more chutzpah, they have more like, oh, I'm awesome, even if they're not necessarily.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you for all the nice things and stuff, but like the thing is with writing is that like most people know how to like write as like the typing and putting words together,
right.
But not everybody knows how to put together like a basic picture of something. It's like way more, it's like being able to walk so you can theoretically run,
right,
kind of a thing, I guess. So a lot of people like, that's the thing I actually wanted to ask you. How often are you at like a party or a convention and people like say, talk to, and you tell them like, oh yeah, I'm a writer, and then they go, oh yeah, I also write. I planned on writing like this massive novel thingy that has been laying around in my head somewhere.
Yep.
But never like wrote a single word.
That's, not so much never wrote a single word, but have never produced it in any really executable form. So I've gotten the thing, I actually have heard this, I've got this great idea, and I've got these great series of ideas, and they're like, oh great, and they're like, yeah, I've only written like a page of this massive open, but it's going to be great, and sometimes you'll hear people say things like, I have a great idea, would you be willing to write it, and then we'll split the profits, and it's like, so the thing is, I also have ideas, and I can keep 100% of the profits, and the other thing is that the real skill in writing is not the idea creation. The real skill in writing is execution. Like, you could have the greatest concept for a picture in your mind, but it's not until you execute it on the page that people can be like, wow, that's amazing. Just telling someone, okay, I'm going to put this dude with a sword on what looks like a rocket-propelled surfboard. And you're like, that sounds great. Now draw it. I can't, And like, so, and Elias is right. Like, Tari's clearly immensely skilled because of proportions and perspective. And that's also because, let's be clear here, it's also because she's worked at it. I'd like to think I'm a good writer because I worked at it. I worked hard at it. It didn't just pop into my head. Like, do you need natural talent to process work into actual achievement? I guess. But natural talent does not bring you to the end result. It just doesn't. Like, you need to know something about the craft and work on your craft to be able to shape it into something that matters. So, well, yeah, Kilobyte. But that, I bet Tari would tell you the same thing. I think I'm competent in what I do. My problem is if I make something I really like, after a while I start to hate it and think it doesn't look good enough. I don't know, Tari, does that ever happen to you where you look at something and you start getting annoyed at it after a while? I don't know if that's true. But I've heard other artists tell me that before.
Sometimes, well, annoyed is the wrong word. I sometimes get bored. Like, the thing is, I don't draw... How do I put this? What I notice when I talk to other artists, like, most of them draw because they want to create something great or something, or to feel better afterwards. I just draw because I have an idea in my head, and it bothers me that I can't look at the idea, actually. Like it's about like capturing a concept basically,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't really care if my art is good or not. I just enjoy drawing.
Yeah. But that's valuable though, because I mean, that really is where the emotional core kind of comes out. Usually write something, think it's garbage, then look back on it a few months later and think, hey, it's actually not too bad. Yeah, no, I'm not going to rant about Terry Goodkind, but actually that's a good example of a guy who is way too convinced of his own ability, and produces stuff that I think is junk, myself. But I also think it's junk because I think he's a jerk, so I don't mind saying that his work is junk. Like, if there was someone who's a really nice guy but his stuff is junk, I just won't talk about it. If there's a guy who's actively a jerk and actively disparages his own genre and actively disparages authors who are 100 times better than him, then I'm absolutely going to be able to talk about how he's a hack, because he is. He's just a world-class hack. But most of the time, I like to focus on people who are good in writing, not bad writing. Also wanted to say, Marinda, in no way did you derail the stream. Like, yes, it means that we didn't quite get, we missed a couple of entries. But the whole point of this stream is for us to be able to talk about stuff that matters, including talking about stuff that, like, visual art and getting better at visual art and getting better at writing and so forth. So it's completely fine.
Hey, look at it like this way. There will be more streams of this game.
That's right. Now you'll get even more of it. That's true. Okay, so let's do a little bit more. I got about 10 minutes, I think. Big Boss, yeah. Oh my God, dude. If you want a real Arv rant, you just get me started about that clown. But yes, that's a good example of it. He's sort of that. Basically, he is Goodkind on steroids. Like I think I would say, with worse hair.
Is that the guy who made Grimoire, or who are you guys talking about?
No, Terry Goodkind is a guy who wrote a series of fantasy books called The Sword of Truth. There's even a TV series that was made about them, and I think to me he's an irredeemable hack. Who is one of these guys that likes to pose on the back cover of his pictures with, like, he's got a ponytail and he's got his arms folded, he's like, I hate cats and most fantasy, but I write literature, not fantasy. One of these incredibly pretentious, dudes who just, so bad. And yeah, even the edited work has major flaws. Wait a minute, Jagtris has hosted me for 500,000 viewers. I'm pretty sure that's an error. I'm pretty sure that's not correct. If I do have 500,000 viewers, I have just set the record for the most viewers ever simultaneous in Twitch. So, I'm going to guess that that's not true. Welcome, 500,000 viewers, to my stream. Oh, man. No. Due to the sword and the surfboard is not rhetorically made up. Hell no. Hell no, it's not. Yeah, I know. Well, he was always overcompensating with his ponytail anyway. Okay, where were we? We were doing this thing, yes. Yes, so we were going to do the autopilot thing. When you tip back the seat, a pack falls open, and you see that it is full of Lurgan specialty food cubes. Some of them inside the best before date, a rare treat. Add 2 stamina points. Yay, we needed that.
Food cubes kind of sound disgusting, but it makes it sound like the game acts like it's actually delicious.
Right, it makes it sound good, but I'm like, ugh. I know, I just keep thinking of like those soup cubes that they sell in the stores. And I'm like, why would you want to eat one of those? You quite enjoyed Wizard's First Rule. Yeah, I just bounced off it hardcore, Marinda, for lots of reasons that I won't go over again because I've talked about them many times. Just, number one, don't mix real-world names with fantasy names. And then don't explain why. Don't have a guy give a full speech on how fire is a bad thing and act as if fire is like Osama bin Laden. Like, I'm not joking. They basically make fire into like a terrorist supervillain. It's the stupidest speech I have ever read in any book, not hyperbole. And somehow it's meant to be seen as this incredibly powerful speech that shows how effective the guy is at manipulating people. Just dumb, dumb, dumb. It's also misogynist as hell, and a lot of it is violence porn. So a lot of it is abusing and beating up children, women. It just, ugh. Now, but you're right, though, that it's Wizard's First Rule has the least of that, and then it just gets insufferably bad. So, yeah, exactly, Miranda. The 500,000 sub-train hype. Oh, my God, can you imagine? One published author I read a book of, worst thing ever, person, a popular, well-known author. Names were convoluted, irritating, plot all over the place, little character development, kept introducing characters every few chapters, never heard from the other ones again. Terrible, I don't remember his name. Sounds like L. Ron Hubbard. Well, sounds like my experience reading Battlefield Earth. It was pretty much exactly how I felt. Okay. The zip car performs well and logs in a flight path for Madrid. You set it for auto land and key in the required landing request data. You relax as the craft does all the work for you and sets you down with a gentle bump. Deduct 2 time units. Okay. You get out and snap the plexiglass top down. You notice that the elusoscope is beginning to work again. It is filling the cockpit with blood. As you walk away, you look back and see a Grompol looking over the zip car. You suddenly realize that it is stolen. You will not be able to return to it. Alright, well, at least we got it, though. You make your way towards the Silverhound terminal. A few natives wander around carrying heavy cases. In the craft park, there are 2 buses, one marked Roma, and the other being repaired by a team of mechnoids. You see a sign marked Services and head towards it. You find that there is only one route that links the northern sector. Most services have been canceled due to lack of demand, and there are considerable delays between stops. And let me show you actually the map that you're looking at here, because I have one for this. This is reminding me a little bit of Mass Effect music. Alright, you guys see this. We stole the lunch. I feel bad now. He threw something at us, man. Okay. While you're working out the times, an android stands next to you, and you feel the code match pulse on your chronograph. Deduct 2 time units. Do you signal back or decide to follow it first? So, remember the androids, there are some planted androids. Thank you for the follow, Ruth Terrell. Welcome to the Argonauts. There are some androids that were planted by your organization that are supposed to help you. And supposedly this code match thing makes it happen. However, the Gromulans, are also very good at being able to turn the android to their own purposes. First android that you talked to at the beginning of the book was one of the good ones and helped you out. We'll see whether this one is the same way. Do you want to signal back to the android or follow it first? There you go. I can see my house from here. Greece is only partially in there. Have we ever talked about, Big Boss, where in Greece you're from? I don't know if I ever asked you about that. Because when I was in Greece, I ended up going to a couple of places, but the 2 soccer jerseys I got were from, I got the Greek national jersey, and then I got IAK, which is, you know, if you're from Athens, I don't know, then you might know about the IAK soccer team. But I was wondering where you were from in Greece, because we were on Crete, we went to Santorini, Central Greece, Thessaly. Okay, we never got up there. We did go to see the Oracle at Delphi, though. Adulting. I understand. See you, Shalom. Thanks for stopping by, though, as always. Okay. So, signal back or follow it first. We got 2 votes so far.
So, Trendin, what do you think of Surfing Wolf Boy so far?
Yeah, if Trend's still in the chat, how do you feel about Surfing Wolf Boy?
Wolf Bug Boy. This is such a weird character design. Like, who thinks of this? Like a bug dude with like a wolf head and several horns?
It does seem like a combination of things. Like, how about this? And how about we add this?
It's like an ad-lib of character design.
Yeah, exactly. I want a wolf in armor, in humanoid form, with horns, and with... It's like a kid who goes crazy on Christmas. And. There
actually was like a great TV show that I used to watch like way back when I was little, like mid-90s, early 90s. Called, oh god, it was some Bavarian TV show. Schlawiner or something. Which was like a combination of different kids shows. And one of them included an artist who would like have every week like 2 different kids as guests, and they would have to say different animal names one after the other, and then he would like put together like in a specific order like a fantasy animal, like a chimera type of character.
That sounds awesome.
Like for example, like the legs of a chicken and the head of a cow or something like that, and then at the end of each episode you would have like a completely new created.
This sounds like a show I would watch the hell out of if I had been a kid at the time.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, sounds pretty awesome. Anubis on vacation in Miami. Exactly, Wolfina. Marinda says he tried searching for the book by Akira Toriyama but couldn't find it. If you have it handy, it'd be appreciated. If not, no worries. I don't know if you have like a... you probably don't have like an Amazon link, but I don't know. You should.
Well, the German. I tried to find an English copy for it once, and I utterly failed.
Okay.
So, Morinda, what do you speak any other languages aside from English? Because you might have better luck with that.
So
after the stream, I will find the Wikipedia page for it.
Okay.
And put it on the Discord chat.
All right. I think I last called this. Oh, I didn't last call it. I will last call it now. What should we do? What been AFK? So this android walked next to you and did the code match thing, as if it's trying to signal you that it's one of the androids that was sent by your organization, basically. So I told everyone, do you want to do that, or do you want to signal back, or do you want to follow it first? Because there are androids that can be turned by the Gromulans, and basically sort of reverse engineered so that they then have control over it, not the organization. So he said, if you want to send the German or whatever language, I can detective translate.
Detective translate? What is that?
I'm not sure I know what detective translate means either. What do you mean by detective translate? Okay, we're going to close the poll, so we're going to follow it first. Follow it, my Satara. All right, let's see. The android wanders off out of the terminal. You give it a few minutes and then go to the window. You look out carefully. It is speaking to two Grompol androids, and it is obvious that it has been turned. Aha! Luckily, the planted androids do not know what you look like. The turned android moves off and fingers its stun gun as it passes a group of hooligans who are trying to break into a food cube dispenser. Do you follow the android or approach the hooligans? So, this android was turned. He says even if he can't understand the language, he can use it as a starting point to investigate to find an English copy. Ah.
Yeah, I will find the Wikipedia article for it after the stream and put it on Discord. So from that on, we can do like a collective investigation. But it's really the best book on the topic I ever read. And it's also fun to read because it's written by Akira Toriyama, who's one of the funniest comic artists in history.
I can imagine.
So
Big Boss asks if it's the world of Akira Toriyama.
I don't know. Because like books have different names
Right.
in different languages.
Right.
And they're often not like direct translations. So
Was it explicitly a this is to help out? Thank you for the follow, Prince Warrior. Welcome to the Arvenants. Was it explicitly a kind of, yeah, like Big Boss, exactly. Is it a reading kind of book or is it a showcase of his works? Like
No, it's a reading type.
a reading type book.
Well, it's like half comic, half
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's not like just a showcase of this stuff. I think World of Toriyama is like an art book, which is a different thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll try to find it afterwards.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, we're closing up shop here in a couple of minutes, so we'll let Terry finish up with Awesome Sauce Dude.
What's his name again?
This guy, I'm assuming he's a Gromulan, but it doesn't have a specific
doesn't
name
have
of
a
him.
name, okay.
He has no name that I know of yet. Alright, so what are we going to do? Are we going to follow the android, or are we going to approach the hooligans? I love that it's spelled hooligans, H-O-U-L-G-A-N-S. He's sword and board. He really is a sword and board. Yes, he is. That guy is so epic. That guy should clearly be the focus of his own comic. Freaking wolf silver surfer dude with a sword. That's freaking awesome.
Too many details. Takes
Oh,
forever
man.
To draw.
That's actually probably true. Every time though would be an adventure though, right? Like every time.
Yeah. It's like now that I'm like doing art for a living more, well, not really for a living, but making some money off my art.
Yes.
Like I can so much more appreciate like all the what's it called, columns in like a lot of comic, especially in mangas. A lot of artists do like forward or afterward, where they just talk about the process and what they thought about, like a lot of designs, like where they took the inspiration from, and how much they loathe their own designs because they're sometimes too hard to draw.
Yeah.
And like now I can look at all the stuff like with in a whole new light, because I'm like, oh, okay, so if I make a comic, don't make my characters look too complicated, because I will hate it.
It probably sounds good at first, and then you're like, oh man, I have to keep doing it though. I have to keep like making different poses with this thing, and like, you know. Okay. All right. We could add Chrono Wolf into it. Yeah, Chrono Wolf would love it, man. He'd be all about that. Okay. So we look like Follow the Android is looking like it's going to be the winner here. I'm going to last call this. This will probably be our last vote of the day, guys. My guess is this will be the last vote of the day, so. Thank you for the host, Digital DM. Much appreciated. That's Dave over at the Digital DM who DMs a bunch of stuff. He's actually one of the professional folks for Fantasy Grounds, which is another service like Roll20, basically. By the way, this is also solid. This is the soundtrack to Stellaris, so this is pretty good too. I like the soundtrack. All right, so last call on this vote. Big Boss wonders if you find that the internet has changed modern art.
I noticed how it changed how a lot of beginner artists start out, because back when I started drawing, I did not have the internet. Okay. Because too expensive and too dangerous, because everybody on the internet is a predator or something. Like I noticed how it screwed with a lot of beginner artists like Attitude. Because they only see, like when I started, I only knew like professional artists who did like comics and were like their 40s or 50s or even older, and I was like, okay, yeah, I have a lot of time. I don't need to compare myself to them. And now there are like a lot of young artists who are like 17 or something and already draw like a pro. And other beginners look at that and are like, yeah, I will never be as good at that. And so they never start out. That's
interesting.
Like the thing that I noticed.
So it's almost like it has a real chilling effect in a way. People get discouraged because of that. That's interesting. Yeah, don't forget Paradox Interactive and their game soundtrack. Add their game soundtrack into Stellaris and City Skylines. So that's cool. Yeah, I definitely Paradox Interactive. We know something about from Tyranny, from Warlock 2, and a few others like that. So that's cool.
But yeah, like in retrospect, I'm pretty happy that I did not grow up with the internet at my disposal. So
same.
I never had this attitude. Never had the potential to develop this attitude.
Yeah. Same. I mean, I had, you know, I grew up, I mean, I grew up without the internet because I was, you know, older than it. I mean, and I actually grew up even without the benefit of a computer. We didn't get our first computer till my freshman year of college. So for me, it was, I've often wondered about that because as much as I enjoy, you know, games, I wonder if the games, because I really didn't start doing a lot of video game stuff until probably mid-'80s with like my Intellivision, and it still wasn't the same. Like the games that I was like, whoa, like the Legend of Zelda stuff, the Nintendo I get in like 87, 88, and by that point I was already 15, 16. So I wondered what it would have been like if I had had video games available to me when I was young, and whether that would have affected how much I read. Probably. I read all the time, and I, you know, did game books all the time, and I was reading all the time because that was the thing to do. Because the TV we had was like 3 stations in black and white, and it was not very interesting. So, but I wonder if I had had many more interesting things to do on the internet, if that would have affected things, and if I would have run into writers that I would have been like, I'm not going to do anything with that. So, yes, I did grow up with electricity, Trouton. Yes, I'm not quite that old. 1972 is not 1472, you know.
Oh, well, actually, I think you would have still started to run because, like, I had video games the day I was able to push buttons. Basically, I grew up with a controller in my hand, basically. but I still read a lot and drew a lot and did
Yep.
all sorts of things. Even though I was also watching TV half of the day or playing video games.
Yeah.
So
That's possible, and you may be right about that. I mean, yeah, Kilobyte grew up with the video games. I mean, also my parents are both teachers, and my father was a translator and a writer. I mean, so the chances are pretty good that I was going to have enough exposure. It's just that I was always surrounded by books, and so it was just a thing that was available to me. But okay, so it looks like we are going to follow the Android. Let's get the result of that, and then I'm going to wrap up because I do need to get set up as well. Well, I read all of it is the thing. I mean, I read science fiction and fantasy, but I also read a ton of non-science fiction and fantasy. I read and had read to me Shakespeare and literary works by Hemingway and stuff like that. And then later on, I started to gravitate more towards fantasy and science fiction. And my father also read me stuff like that. So he read me The Hobbit, and he read me Edgar Rice Burroughs and The Man from Mars and the Epic of Gilgamesh and stuff like that. So I had a pretty broad, experience of reading, but it wasn't just fantasy and science fiction, honestly. And one of the things that was most important was learning to read widely. I think that's a mistake some people actually make, is they decide they like science fiction and fantasy and then they never read anything else, and I think that's a mistake. I think
that's what I did. Only read fantasy.
Only read fantasy and science fiction. Well, I mean, obviously people should enjoy whatever they like, but I think it's a mistake if you're going to write it. Let me put it that way, because I think you need to be able to have experience in different genres and subgenres. And I would say the same thing if someone loves thrillers and they want to write mysteries. Honestly, if you want to write science fiction and fantasy, you ought to be reading thrillers, because the stuff you can learn from what good thriller writers do have enormous impacts on what you can do in fantasy and science fiction. And the same thing would apply if you wanted to write romance, or if you wanted to write. So reading widely is really useful.
Same is true for art.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of comic fans or people who want to draw comic art, and they don't ever look at paintings or animation. I get a lot of my inspiration from animation, actually, though I don't want to do animation myself, but it's just very, very important to have a broad spectrum of influences.
Yeah.
Because if you look at all the stuff every one of us loved as a kid, whatever that might have been, all the stuff was also inspired by things that had nothing to do with the subject, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Or with the medium, I guess.
Right. Well, somebody said, I actually heard this quote, I saw this quote the other day on Twitter, and I think it's a really good quote, and it is, too many people think that fantasy and science fiction is the payload, when in fact what it is the delivery mechanism. And I really like that quote, because the idea is it's not the content of fantasy and science fiction that people are thinking about. They think about it and they go, oh, science fiction has got such cool new ideas. It's actually what science fiction and fantasy does is it delivers important ideas in a new form. So it's communicating, the best work is communicating the same work about triumph, about failure, about love, about companionship, about empathy, about despair, about cruelty and malice, overcoming those things, right? The same things that exist in all these genres. It's just fantasy and science fiction puts it over, and covers it up a little bit so that people are sort of almost more not aware that they're looking at it. But if you look at you read The Lord of the Rings, and what you're reading is a tale, is a moral tale. It's a powerful moral tale about determination, about love, and about what matters to you and what you will and won't fight for. But they just do it with hobbits and rangers and elves instead of doing it with someone set in a modern, metropolis doing the same thing, and it's a detective and a cop or whatever. So.
Yeah, I think it's a problem when people think that. I mean, it's I'm not 100% sure if that's actually true, but I never really thought of sci-fi and fantasy as a genre. It's a setting most of the time.
Right.
I mean, it can be a genre, but it's like science fiction, for example. If really the story is about technological achievements or whatever, then it is also the genre, I guess. But most of the time, Lord of the Rings is a story about war. And,
yep. Sure is.
And friendship.
Yep.
And ancient evils.
As most great stories are, honestly. I mean, the truth is that they're, at this point, we've been telling stories for thousands of years, and most stories in a way, have been told. But the reason that you sometimes say that and people are like, what? Well, then we should just give up. Well, no. The whole point is that the way in which you tell it, the aspects that you tell it, the people that you tell it for become important, right? So you don't tell stories now just for straight white men. You tell stories that incorporate gay and transgender and lesbian. You incorporate stories that deal with people of color. You incorporate stories that deal with people from different countries, from different backgrounds, of different ages, of different abilities, right? You tell stories for the people who are blind and deaf as much as you tell stories for the people who aren't. So the point is, you know, who you're telling it to changes and will always change. But the basics of, you know, love and care and lust for power and rage and anger and forgiveness, those are basic things that underpin all stories. So
I can't really testament to that. Like, maybe I'm just too young, but like the stories I grew up with always, well, not always, but a lot of times were like super diverse. Like, for example, like some of my favorite books or like stories as a kid, like were like the kids' books by Astrid Lindgren.
okay,
This a very famous children's author from Sweden. She wrote Pippi Longstocking and Brothers Lionheart and stuff like that. And like, for example, like the main character of Pippi Longstocking is a girl who has superpowers and has a pirate for a dad, and it's an adventure story, which also has sad and feely moments. And then I also grew up with stories by Michael Ende, who wrote The Never-Ending Story.
right.
Jim Knopf, like Jim Knopf especially, and Momo also. Like Jim Knopf, or Jim Button, sorry, English name. Jim Button is an African kid, for example, who grows up in a white environment. And Momo is about a Japanese girl who grows up in well, a nondescript Central European town.
But that's, and you're right, so that's fair, but that's, but I have to say though, that's unusual. It's especially unusual in fantasy. You know, much of Western fantasy, and obviously not Eastern fantasy, but much Western fantasy has been dominated by kind of the white male story for a long time. It's one of the reasons why people read Wizard of Earthsea and didn't realize for a long time that the main character of Ursula Le Guin's great book is black. He's of color. And in fact, most of the characters in that book are of color. There's a few who are white, and actually the ones who are white don't come off particularly well, because she was an anthropologist by training, and she wanted to write a world that reflected reality, not a world that reflected, you know, Western/Nordic Europe only. And so that's basically the idea, is that it is unusual to have people represented in the way that you're starting to see them be represented now and have stories written for them in that same way. But of course, there's definitely exceptions to that. Even, I mean, Shakespeare himself is writing stories like Othello, where the lead character is a Moor who's a man of color and is a wonderfully complex tragic hero and is represented as such, not some person who's stupid and dumb and you know, racist stereotype, but a person who is a tragic hero. Shylock, you know, in The Merchant of Venice, is a Jew who is represented in a way. There are definitely anti-Semitic aspects of the way he's represented, but there's a lot of aspects in which he's given the chance to speak for himself against the Christians that persecute him. You know, so there are definitely exceptions to all of that, but there was a feeling for a long time that it was a particular sort of story for a particular kind of person. And that, I think, has broadened out over time. But the foundation still has always been the same. I mean, the foundation of caring, of love, of hate, of anger, of revenge, of walking away from a fight instead of fighting it. What are people going to choose to do? Those kinds of stories are really the foundation of almost all stories, from almost the beginning of recorded time, because they're the things that matter to us. You know, we care about our emotional states. So that's literature is always just a reflection of us and what we want to be. And that's one of the nice things about, you know, the way that this operates. Speaking of the way that this thing operates, because we are just about out of time, I'm going to put the save point here at 152, which is as we begin to follow this android out of the place. We have got a, I think, just about completed drawing. That's awesome. That looks super cool. I love the idea that he's writing it and you got the rocket ship going, the jet fuel down below. So I dig it. And the sword is really cool too. the quality of the laser sword around the back.
Well, I just went by the design on the cover. But...
Yeah, the sort of jagged, the lightning sort of arcing around the outside of it. That's really awesome. So show the fine people the other thing that you drew. So you did that, and then
our heroine.
Our heroine, Satara Shadow Space. Yeah. I don't see how we can lose with that heroine, frankly. Like, I just don't see it. Like, I feel like Satara is automatically a winner with that one. So
don't jinx it.
I know, right? Exactly. Insta death. It's going to be cool. Well, I am looking forward to doing that. So, chat, we ended up with Satara Shadow Space with 14 stamina, 10 skill, 7 luck, 10 fear, 32 out of 48. So we've used 16 hours out of our 48 hours that remain. But at least we've gotten ourselves back to the right spot. So we will see. Yeah, exactly. No pressure. No pressure at all. But this has been a lot of fun, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to save that like that. There we go. And that, I think, is going to do it for us, because I have to, in about 20 minutes, load up GOG and start playing over there as I continue my playthrough of Torment. So let me ask chat to give Terry some love, the great work that TariToons did. So let's see some love and chat for TariToons. Hopefully we will be able to do this again. You'll hopefully see Terry on the Tolkien campaign next Tuesday. Hopefully we'll be able to do one more session of this before the end of the month. We'll have to see how that goes, because we both got tight schedules, and, you know, so we'll see how we manage it. But we will do the best we can. Also, I want to welcome, because this is awesome, Cupcake Unicorn Rainbow has become an Arvanaut. Listen, guys, we've won, because Cupcake Unicorn Rainbow has joined us, and I think that's the key. But Terry, as always, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure. This was fun, and I'll see you for Tolkien. But also, hopefully, we'll maybe be able to do this another one of these sessions before the end of the month. So that'll be good.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Terry. We'll catch you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye. All right, and end. Okay. So that's going to do it for me over here, but I am going to be going over to GOG in just a little bit. If you guys want to see more of me, I'm going to be continuing my playthrough of Planescape Torment. Not Planescape Torment, sorry. Torment Tides of Numenera, the spiritual successor to Planescape Torment. But if you like what you saw and heard, you guys know the way to support us. Please follow the channel. Please support the Steam group by going to ! Steam group. YouTube with ! ArvTube. We're up to like 514 or 515 subscribers over there. Please check out the Discord with ! Discord. Please support the Patreon. I actually am able to pay artists like Terry to do some of this stuff because of support from the Patreon. So please, if you can, cool stuff for you, cool stuff for the channel, which is right there. A little reminder, hold on, okay. I'm not going to stop streaming just yet. Oh yes, this is the clip that will basically tell you, this is the clip that helps tell you about Kilobyte and about TariToons. You guys should definitely check that out, yes, for sure. So thank you, X5, I appreciate that. So, anyway, yes, so please support the Patreon with ! Arvtreon, and please also hit that sub button if you can do that below, the purple button below the window. Again, none of this is required, but it's always very much appreciated because it does make a difference in the channel overall. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to be over at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock Eastern, and I will be playing, continuing my Torment playthrough, and then again, creative streams later in the week, and on Friday, we have D&D with viewers. So if you want to play Dungeons & Dragons with me, if you've been interested in doing that, and you want to play a one-shot with me, mark your calendar for Friday night, because we will be doing that on Friday evening. But that's it for me, and I will check out, this is a clip from my reminder. Wait, what? A reminder. So, people who are doing this, because it's going to be 2 weeks till I play this next. So if people could remind me that next time I play, that the first thing I wanted to do was go talk to those people and tell them that the way to the Anchorage is free. Way to the Anchorage is open. Yes, I remember. Yes, got it. Thank you, X5. Yes, thank you. That is very helpful. That helps jog my memory. Yes, thank you. I will do that. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you to everybody who made this a wonderful stream tonight. Thanks to my wonderful mods, Dragonspear. Extra shout-outs to Dragonspear for uploading the Star Strider illustrations. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to Kilobyte for everything. Thank you to my mods for that. Best in the business. Thank you to my regulars and to my subscribers. Thank you for the follow, Sheriff. 77190. Welcome to the Arbonauts. Thank you to my subscribers, to Dragon Spear, Kilobyte, Silfrina, and Uncle Elias. Thank you to my regulars, to Big Boss, Cloud, Kingdom Commander, Dunsel, Echo Alpha, Ekag, Hillness, Jagtris, Kaniziel, Marinda, Obme, PKD Fan, Poltergeist Zero, Private J, TariToons, of course. Thank you so much, Terry. Trouden, Welfina. Thank you to all of you, and thank you to those of you who are supporting the Patreon that don't necessarily show up on my thing. Thank you guys so much for that as well. And last but certainly not least, thank you so much to TariToons for great work tonight on the cartooning. Terry, much love, always a pleasure. Now that's it for me. I will catch all of you over at GOG as we continue with Torment and as I stop this music, which was great, but that's enough for now. Thanks, everyone. Love you all, and I will see you guys over at GOG in a little bit. Until then, have a good one. Be good to each other. Have a good day.
Fresh and new, when it all seemed clear to you, when your aim was straight and true. Were your mind untroubled by the questions in the dark, content to play your part, open pathways to your heart? Were your life untainted by a host of broken dreams, when all your acts were queens, understood all that it means? Could you have understood the way your life was bound? Did you ever wonder how you got from there to now? Oh yes, you're gonna fly away from here, where the sky grows more clear, and your problems disappear, drift away down below. Watch them go down to your friends, where the trouble never ends, and there's always just one more day left to go. Now through your pile of broken lies and your set of fake goodbyes, another cynical disguise. When will they catch you? All those little things you said, will it turn around instead? Blame the voices in your head. With all your subtle language, try and turn your life around. If your center gets unwound, you do your best to slow things down. And if you feel things that you never felt before, shook you to your core, a shattered truth you can ignore. Oh yes, you're gonna fly away from here, when the sky grows more clear, and your problems disappear, drift away down below. Watch them go down to your friends, where the trouble never ends, and there's always just one more day left to go. Life is